Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NLC Open or Aurora Cup, whatever we want to call it. I'm very excited to be back, and my name is Duckling. Today, I am joined by Foxdrop for our first semi-final. It is Fourth Wall and Lazy and Life going up against each other. And looking at the pre-tournament expectations, I was not expecting these two teams to meet in the semi-finals.
Yeah, they've done really well so far, and they've been relatively dominant as well in their games. So now that we've got these two teams clashing up against each other, I don't really know what to expect. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be exciting. Obviously, a lot. I think it's fair to say roster changes from pretty much every team coming into the tournament. It is the off-season part of the year where you're basically just gathering a team for this tournament, and maybe it clicks, maybe it doesn't. I thought coming into this, I was in particular looking at Natives myself to be one of the big favorites. They had players who had played together before, but they bombed out to Jailings, who are now in the semifinals of 3 out of 4 teams, I would say. Surprised to see at the semifinal, but I'm excited to see how far they will go. In terms of the series today, though, there's one man in particular I do want to highlight, and that is Sleeping for Fourth Wall. I have no idea how they managed to get this guy on the roster because, I mean, he's won the Prime League First Division. He's been to EMEA Masters multiple times. One time with Ventus, a Danish esports org as well. So, been to top 8, been to the group stages, won Germany, which is a big national ERL here in Europe. So, surprised to see how they've managed to get him for this tournament, and I'm really looking for him to put on a lane kingdom if they want to get a 3-0 or something like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time we see a top lane kingdom. It was just 2 days ago our last matchup here on the NLC with Ruddy face off against Verdun, and Nile in the top lane for Verdun was putting on a clinic. He was very, very dominant in that top side, drawing a lot of attention to himself, getting solo kills left, right, and center. It was very, very clean from him. Very nice to watch if you're a Verdant fan, not so much if you're a Ruddy fan. And yeah, we could maybe be seeing something similar with Sleeping here. Clearly it works out, and with this style of draft that we're seeing too, the Fearless draft, it does mix things up, and it allows carry players to really step up and to as a team, you kind of spread your win conditions around from game to game. You don't always, well, you can't pick the same comps over and over, so definitely get some opportunities for carry tops to really shine.
Yeah, I really like the Fearless draft. I just casted it over in the Spanish Cup yesterday in the best of 3, and even then you could start to feel the adaptation from the team just coming into the second game. And I think there is an opportunity for fifth gaming today. So to see how the teams have to adapt game after game, slowly but surely removing champs away, the versatility that these players have to be able to come out on top of the series has to be stretched, and I'm really excited to see how that works. And I should say, how the win conditions will change from game to game. Will it be a bot-centric game, or maybe will Sleeping have a game where he's put on a carry, and he's then the one who has to try and carry the game? I want to see these adaptations, and I want to see the team which is best at doing this go to the finals.
Absolutely, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to go on. Like, do we see a top focus meta? Do we see something more bottom focused? Do we see something perhaps more shifted towards jungles? That was a very prominent factor as well in the last series that we watched. So a lot of different things happening, a lot of cool things going down, and the Fearless draft just exacerbates it all. And the best thing is, I don't think we have a lot of tape on these teams and rosters, right? So no one really knows what to expect, and that goes for the teams playing against each other. Don't necessarily know how to prepare for the other teams, right? So it's cool stuff.
Yeah, let's just take a look at the bracket one more time. Fourth Wall, 3-0ing Carolina in the that's just the upper quarterfinal, that you could call it. Lazy and Life took out DMG, which to me, looking at the rosters, I would have expected that to go to 5 games and maybe DMG come out on top. In the end, though, Lazy and Life, impressive that they got through. Then on the bottom side, obviously, 2 quick 3-0s. Jailings, I predicted that 3-0 to be honest with you, but that's because I wanted to go crazy with my predictions, but I would have expected Natives to beat that, or at the very least get a game. And now, then, all the way at the bottom, Verdant. I think I saw something on Twitter, and that was the fastest best of 5 in NLC history up against Ruddy. Very quick series. I think I watched the start of it, then I went to get dinner, and I came back, and it was like, wait, they're finishing game 3 already?
Yeah.
It went by so fast, man.
It was a quick one. It was a quick one there, and no one actually predicted Verdant to win, aside from yours truly. Not to brag, obviously, that's not why I'm saying that. I'm just saying it was definitely a subversion from what we were expecting out of that Ruddy and Verdant matchup. And here we are today instead with today's games, Fourth Wall versus Lazy in Life. Pretty spread across, honestly. There's 4 votes apiece for each of these teams, and quite close as well in the scores. So we're expecting, again, a pretty close series here, even though everything so far in the NLC has either been a 3-0 or a 3-1. So we've not really seen a lot of close series. Maybe this is the one today that bucks the trend.
And maybe it is. I will say, I think it's Aragon who just won 3-0 for Lazy Life. He definitely has the expectation that they will just crush this. Regardless, though, none of the rest of us are really feeling that route. A lot of 3-2s there. I think I saw a couple 3-1s as well. So hopefully more games here today so we can learn more about these teams, get some more tape on them as well, and see if there are really any good prospects sitting in here. I guess there will be, considering the fact that they've made it to the semifinals. But Foxtrot, we have talked about the most notable player looking at that fourth wall roster, but I do want to turn our attention over towards the Lazy and Life roster, and I want to point out Ericsson. Obviously a name that if you have been casting or watching the Nordic scene for many years now, you will have heard his name every now and then. He just continues somehow to pop up on either a super team in one of the lower divisions or one of the teams up in our top division in the NLC. He's been around the block, he's played for different teams. I mostly remember him for his time in Nordevent, I think back in 2020, 2021, where they were a pretty solid team, making it to the playoffs, getting top 2 in their groups back in the old format of the NLC. So he's someone who I would be looking at on this team to say, you have to be the leader. You might not be the most mechanical player or the most talented player in this team, but you are going to be the glue who looks to brings this roster together and lead them to victory.
Absolutely, and that's where it all comes down to, right? At the end of the day, you've got to have that kind of play. You can't just be all flashy and all that business. It never works. We've seen it time and time again, right? You've got to have some kind of team cohesion. And the fact this guy fits into so many different rosters, has always looked good in them as well, I think is a huge positive for him. And just it speaks volumes to the kind of teammate that he is, and maybe we can see it again, honestly, with this game today. Like if Ericsson can kind of pop off, like mid lane obviously being a very important role in League of Legends, especially that mid jungle duo. We'll see how it goes down. But we're finally into the first game here with game number 1 draft. As a reminder, it's Fearless Draft, okay, which means if you pick a champion, you cannot play that champion again for the rest of the best of 5. The other team can, but your team can't. So it's very, very strategical here. And whether we're going to get kind of like off meta to start with to hold your cards close to your chest, whether you're going to go full meta and just kind of try and get that first game out of the way, we'll have to see.
I'm excited, and if I remember correctly, Game 5, if we get there, it's a complete blind pick as well, like the old LCK format, so I would love to get that. That would be fantastic. I do want to point out, though, that Lazy Life has banned away the Jarvan, obviously just meta in general, but also this is cast most played champion over the course of his career, so taking that bit of comfort away from him here in the first game, trimming the pool a little bit more with the Nocturne, only a champion he has played at once, but maybe that's expecting some strategies with it.
Yeah, we saw Nocturne come out yesterday, and Nocturne, honestly, as a champion, is a really good jungler to lock in if you're looking for engage from a jungler, and Jarvan isn't available. So they really don't want cast engaging from that jungle position. Instead, it's going to be that first pick for Aurora, who is one of the strongest mids in the current meta, and I think in this style of draft as well, really, really valuable as a first pick because you can pick her into so many different scenarios and situations. So a very safe kind of blind first one there, responded by the Xayah. Now here's the curious thing, Xayah often wanting to be paired with Rakan. If you don't take Xayah Rakan in this rotation right here, and fourth will take the Rakan away to deny it, it will mean that both of these teams, or neither of them, will be able to play Xayah Rakan for the entirety of the series, right? So if you want to get it down, you have to pick it there, and there it is. It is going to be Xayah Rakan instead, which means moving forward into different drafts as well, maybe Lazy, to do it in like game 2, game 3, as we move on, they decide, actually, we're just going to ban Xayah Rakan away, right? We know we can't play it, we can't handshake it, we can't trade it, but maybe we can just deny that combo from fourth wall.
Yeah, obviously in this first draft, we're expecting pretty stock standard meta composition because everything is open and up on the table. And as we move along, as you say, the mind games will become much more important as well. And will they just ban the Rakan and see if they can deny the combo and how they will play that? We'll look at that as we get to game 2. But for now, the Ashe has been locked in here for the bot lane. Gravepast will get that AD carry underneath his belt. Let's see what they will pair it with. I would not be surprised to see them pick a support here. Instead, they could prioritize. I get this because I've just seen 3 bans towards cast in the jungle, so they secure something they think he's comfortable on. They hacker him. Very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. We actually saw a lot of carry junglers being picked in the previous series between Ruddy and Verden, and it didn't really work particularly well. So it's something that, as a strategy, I think because of Fearless Draft, you see a lot of different strategies coming through, and carry junglers are one of them. But it is still quite difficult to execute, and you need to have a team around you that will enable you to be able to get those resources, to get that farm, and to reach the point where you become really, really strong. And I really like the combination of Orianna plus Hecarim. Even the engage from Ashe means that you can follow up with the Hecarim too. You've just got to make sure you get some lane priority here so that Hecarim isn't too vulnerable early, because if Lazy pick like an aggressive jungler here and they're able to get lane prio, they can really, really ruin someone like Hecarim's day and completely nullify this pick as a whole.
Yeah, I really like the Silas pick here for Ericsson. Man, what are his options right now in terms of ultimates? You might be asking. Well, they're absolutely fantastic across the board. Even if the next two ultimates won't be something that's very usable for the Silas, you have three good options. You have pick potential, teamfight potential, engage potential as well, with the Onslaught of Shadows, which scales an AP, mind you, so will actually also do a good amount of damage if he decide to use it. And then what will someone like Sleeping be playing, you might ask? Well, he, over his course now very long career, likes to play things like the Gnar, like the Ornn, so also useful options for the Silas. If there was a time to pick it, I'm not surprised to see him pick it here. I'm very happy for that. I think Ericsson could really be unlocked on this pick.
I think it also sort of preemptively denies some of the more engage-heavy top laners from being locked down as well here, because you just don't want to give more good ults over to Silas, right? Silas, he's got enough to play with right now. You're going to have to be quite cautious. If you are fourth wall here, we have just got some kind of roundabout bans coming down from both these teams at this point. Obviously, top side needing to be locked in for Lazy alongside their jungler. It's going to be the Viego going up into Hecarim. So I do quite like this pick as well. I think he's strong in skirmishes in the 1v1. He can absolutely bully out a Hecarim. Again, matched with some lane priority, he can go in and be a real problem actually for fourth wall. So we have to keep an eye on that one and Viego's pathing and how his lanes are doing here. And it does mean that you get last pick now for top lane. So again, hopefully from Lazy's perspective, they can look for more of winning lane in that top side to again facilitate the invades onto this Hecarim.
I would have liked the Emilio being locked in, but instead they went towards the Renekton, deciding to have some more time to think about that support pick. So Sleeping will be playing that Renekton. Obviously, opportunity to take over the game if you get resources early on. Otherwise, can be good in the team fight as well if whoever plays it really knows how to play the champion and utilize his kit. In the end, though, the support pick will be the Renata, which I'm also decently happy with because has some good disengage abilities here. Something like the Q as well, the handshake, just to get Sim away from the engage and deny the grand entrance or whatever he wants to use to get into the fight.
Definitely, and with Silas being a very strong engage option now with the ults he can steal, I think it's a good shout. It's going to be the Jax lockdown here. Jax into Renekton. This is a really interesting one. So this matchup here, I've heard it goes kind of both ways. I've heard people say it's unplayable for Jax. I've heard people say that Renekton can make use of his strong early and beat Jax, but also that Jax can just go toe to toe with Renekton and just not die pre-6 or pre-9 really, and then take over the game. I do think early on though you have that pressure from fourth wall side from the Renekton. You would think that something like Counter-Strike just entirely counters the Renekton W, which it does, but Renekton W has no cast time. You can't predict it. So yeah, it's very easy to outplay if you are the Renekton to outplay that AoE stun from Jax. So all in all though, I think it's a good draft from both teams. I like the idea from what fourth wall are doing. They've got some good engage. They've got nice kind of support and supplementary things for people like the Hecarim and the Renekton, but also from Lazy's side, you've got a really strong bot lane you can play around, and then you've got that scaling in the side lanes as well.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to the top lane because, as you say, there is opportunity to outplay each other really with the Counter-Strike especially and the W. And as you say, no cast time on it. If there's anyone who you would expect to be able to outskill this matchup, but we're looking at the veteran, the Prime League champion in Sleeping to really be able to take over early on and try and snowball it. But I think this could go both ways. I also see the fact that this game could go late. I see a lot of scaling on both teams' main damage sources. Obviously, looking at Lazy in live, they will probably prefer to outscale in the side lane in terms of the Jax over the Renekton in the late game. So I would not be surprised to see this game go late if no team is really able to get a big lead early on and snowball with it. And this could go back and forth. I'm genuinely really excited because we could be getting some banging team fights around big neutral objectives just from looking at this draft.
We could do. There's also a world where we
There
don't
is.
see like any team fights because because Dax just kind of takes over the side lane. I do think like again it's kind of just gaining game for the side laners here for Lazy. You know they've got some strong options as the game goes on, and it's really just trying to nullify the I guess that kind of early threat that comes through from especially Renekton in the top side, and still Hecarim. Hecarim's a big question mark for me here. You know, what is he going to be able to do? Is he going to be able to kind of get that farm up and be one of those more carry orientated junglers? You can still gank on Hecarim as well, but obviously it's a little bit tough when you're just running at people, and you need strong lanes to set up with that. I'm still really curious to see how these guys are gonna pull off that jungle pick, and I don't know. It's looking up already to be a really interesting game from game one.
Yeah, this is definitely exciting. I'm really looking forward, as you just talked about the Hecarim cast, seeing him on the Hecarim as well. It's not something he's played that much of in the competitive scene at the very least. I will say Hecarim is probably on paper more of a stronger solo queue jungler. I've had a lot of success with him last year, playing him in solo queue. I think I got all the way up to Diamond 2, and for my level, that's very impressive playing Hecarim. I was proud of that, and I had a very high win rate on him as well. And he's very easy to snowball with, of course, but you really need your team around you, and that's what I'm looking at here. And for that, I need someone like MXC to be able to rotate up and help his jungler. For example, around the Scuttles, if he is able to get that extra early gold, that could help him snowball. Or if they get in a fight with the leaders, maybe getting that kill there as well could really be crucial. So looking for support jungle synergy, and if you just look on the paper for that, I'd go to Lazy in Life and say the leaders and Sim will have been playing on this team together for the whole year. So if there is any jungle support synergy there, I would expect it to be on their team and not on the side of Fourth Wall, which does put a lot of pressure on Cast, because I would not be surprised if he gets caught out at a scuttle or invading or something like that, where the communication just isn't there, where someone like Sim and Deletus, who have played together for a year, just know he's in my jungle, I need support to rotate, and they get that sorted out quickly.
Yeah, this is a lot of pressure, I think, on Cast for this first game. We know Cast to have quite a unique champion pool as far as junglers go, and quite an aggressive champion pool too. So Hecarim, I do think, obviously makes a lot of sense for him. I think we even saw him whip out the old Udyr recently as well. So whereas Udyr and Hecarim are not the same champion, they certainly kind of give you an idea of what kind of jungler Cast is and what he likes to play. We're just having a little bit of a break here. We didn't have can hear anything. I don't know if that was the issue or not, but still we'll be getting back into game in just a few moments already. There'll be a cheeky invade trying to happen from the side of Lazy, but I think being spotted out shouldn't be too much happening here at level 1.
And it's important for the first 6 level for Cast to remember as well, he needs to be careful on the Hecarim, right? Because without the Onslaught of Shadows and the Ghost as your summoner spell, well, if you're caught out, there's no real way of getting out. Obviously, the Ghost helps, but you can't really just flash over a wall and be back out to safety. So until he gets that level 6 spike, needs to be careful, and the Rakan, able to roam early on, really needs to respect that and get the communication straight with his own support, because otherwise this could go wrong. But if it goes well, it could go super well, especially if they manage to play for the top side, right? Snowballing the Renekton, Sleeping could take over the game, casting a good goal from that too. A lot of opportunity here for both teams, and I'm really excited to see where this early game goes, because as you said, there's a chance someone like Felio on the Jax just gets ahead because of good jungle support synergy, takes over the game. We don't get to see any team fights. The game is over 25 minutes because Jax took over the game. But there's also the other side where it's Sleeping who comes out with the lead, able to snowball that lead into the rest of his team and just win across the map.
Yeah, this is where the execution is going to be really, really important here for both teams, obviously. And I know that sounds like such a weak thing to say, or it just depends how they play it. Like, obviously it's League of Legends. You just got to play things well. But yeah, I think it's specifically towards the top side, which is what we're talking about here. It's like this Jax here. If he's the one getting ganked a lot, he will fall behind, and maybe Renekton can just take over the early game and make it so that Hecarim can reach his power spikes and whatnot, and then whatever, you can build enough of a lead early that it's all good. But if you're not able to do that, Jax will take over, especially in a side lane with that scaling option. So I think there is more pressure, at least on fourth wall, to do something specifically top side. But of course, what we're not even talking about here is the opportunity cost of paying attention to the top side of the map means you're not giving it to the bot side. And there's a Zyra Khan on the other, you're going up against, right? Like that in and of itself can be a lane that's really hard to deal with too. So a little bit tough right here in decision making from Cast, considering he's playing a jungler that wants to be selfish, that wants to farm, that wants to get resources for himself. He does have teammates that are going to need some help as well. So we have to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, a lot of pressure, and I think Grave Pass as well, right? You have the Ghost and the Flash, so a lot of ways to get out initially, but if those aren't cooled down, you could easily be caught out. Ashe, not very mobile, and if someone like MXC is out roaming, or isn't where he needs to be, well, that handshake won't be of much use, so a lot of pressure on Graves Pass and MXC's positioning to be able to stop the potential engages that could be coming through for the 2v2, because I think it's pretty much regardless of what bot lane you're up against, you're expecting the Zyra Khan to win it.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong bot lane, to be honest. It's got everything. It has its synergies as well, of course, when you pick those two champions together. Here comes early engage. This was some little bit of trading. Oh, the Ghost is being popped, though.
Very good trade, actually, for the side of fourth wall. Just punishing the over-aggression.
Wow.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Lazy in Life and Simi in particular, I think they wanted to target down MXC and were just expecting a couple auto attacks, but Grave Pass saw the opportunity to get the slows and get the damage with the Ghost as well. Force the recall out. That is genuinely massive for this 2v2.
Yeah, that's really big as well. And we'll see what's happening with that wave. The fact that Xayah had to recall instantly. I don't think she'll miss too much XP though, which is the big thing here instead. So not awful for Lazy, but having said that, you never want to be in a position where your Zyra Khan is getting forced out of lane at level 1. So really, really well read there by fourth wall's bot lane to get that pressure going. Fortunately, though, for Lazy, Gotzi will be here in time to pick up this farm. She hasn't missed too much, but certainly not a position you want to be in right from the get-go here.
Yeah, especially if you want to try and build the lead 2v2, right? This definitely puts a damper on things. As we see, Falio just crashing this wave very early, has a level advantage already, will be obviously be caught up as this wave will be taken down by sleeping underneath the turret. So, I mean, a lot of action in terms of the wave states going on and aggressive plays from both teams, but just taking a look at the rest of the fourth wall roster, we've talked a bit about Carsten sleeping, but if you look at their mid lane and bot side, well, where do these guys come from? All three are from Turkey and have all three spent some time in the second division of the Turkish league, a league which I know incredibly little about. So looking at them, it seems like they all had decent performances being on teams who finished in the playoff every now and then, but none of them really standing out to get that TCL opportunity. But in there, I mean, so far they're doing good in the lane. They're poking out their opponents, finding opportunities. So I'm really excited to see what level they bring.
Yeah, people don't give enough respect to the Turkish scene, man. Way before we had like LFL and LVP being the main leagues, it was all about Turkey in the Turkish Super League.
I mean, Caps came through to Turkey League.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think it was Dark Passage he won on. And that was with another LEC. His jungler turned into be an LEC player as well. I can't quite remember who it was. But it was someone who went to play in the LEC. I think it was maybe Xerxes or someone like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think that might be it, actually. A lot of teams, a lot of great players, really made their name in the Turkish scene before
Ahmed
they
as well.
pushed forward.
Obviously,
yeah,
he's back in the
he is
League,
Turkish, so
yeah, he's back to the Turkish league. But I mean, he had a couple good years in the LEC. Let's see if Ericsson has a good time underneath his turret here. Though looks for the initialing re-engage with the abscond abduct cast. Dukes away, pops the ghost. Sim rotating up as well, just to be there in case anything further happens. But the disengage comes through, and Ericsson happy to survive that one without expending any summoner spells.
He's kind of lucky that he missed his abscond abduct there. That chain could have pulled him into Hecarim, and if that happened, he'd probably just have to flash away. He was exceptionally low on health and had no mana either, and there was some backup coming through from Cast and the rest of Fourth Wall, so yeah, kind of gets away with that one a little bit, but either way, it is advantage to Lazy. That's the ghost being blown from Hecarim. Sleeping, my goodness, if I could, third time's a charm, is kind of struggling in this topside matchup right now. I did talk about it being Renekton favored, and early on, certainly that is the case. There's a bit of kill potential there from him, but Valio's played this one really, really well. Put a lot of pressure down onto Sleeping. Stuck him under tower for most of it as well. And the fact that Falio is pretty even, honestly, so far here. And he's got that coal too. He's chilling, man. He's in a great spot for this top side and should be able to freeze this wave, no problem too.
And let's then turn our attention back to the bot lane. Well, what is the game state here after that early fight? So far looks pretty good for the side of Lazy Life. They've been able to catch up in XP and in terms of the CS as well. So didn't lose too much in the end on that early trade, but it has denied them in these first 5 minutes to look for that 2v2 kill again.
Ericsson does find the hook.
Yeah, that does connect. I don't think he has the damage though. We'll be able to stop the back. Might be able to force out the teleport here then. I didn't quite see if Fade were able to pick up, or was able to pick up the... Yeah, the bot lane gang could be coming through. But I don't think Fade got the plate gold there, which was taken down by the minions. Because he was too far away. Thanks to the engage. And see here though. MXE forced to flash away. Good engage. Now the ghost pop yet again. Gotchi wants to take the fight, it might seem. No, in the end. Turns around Grave Pass. Unable to do anything there. The damage, not that massive. Big rotation coming in there from Lazy Life. Ericsson and the lead is coming down as well. Grave Pass does have the flash. Ultimate available from Ericsson. Could look to steal the enchanted crystal arrow. Yeah, that's good damage with the Q there. Whew.
You've got to look for Dragon here now if you're Lazy. Surely you push the enemy bot lane out of the lane. They're going to be recalling. You've got to try and get something out of this one instead. Lazy. That Zyra Khan, despite their early hiccups, really still winning these trades, making it happen. You know, they're ahead in farm now as well. It's just such a strong 2v2, and you can turn on a dime, which is honestly one of the scarier things about playing versus Rakan. Like, he just jumps in and suddenly, like, there's so much CC coming through, especially once you reach level 6. Like, it's really, really hard to deal with. Looks like Lazy isn't going to get any significant advantage out of pushing fourth wall into spawn. I guess, I don't know. I feel that's a bit of a missed opportunity there, especially when you got someone like Viego who's very comfortable at taking objectives. Maybe now, though, the cast has been seen in that top side ward. Will actually get this dragon going down. Looks like he's flirting with the idea, at least.
Yeah, he really has. He took the Scuttle earlier, watered the Drake as well. Might be looking for a gank instead. Doesn't realize that he's spotted on a ward, though. Now pinging towards the mid lane. Fade knows that he's in the area. Should respect it. I think he's gone towards the Raptors instead. Let's look down towards the bot lane. Grave Pass. Caught out, forced to use the flash. Simply punishing the fact that MXC is not there to stop the engage because he was taking a ward, and this could go from bad to worse. No flash, no ghost. Grave Pass down to 30% HP, and there comes the ultimate as well. The leaders should be able to find another turnaround, and they find the first blood. No way, the W saves Grave Pass, and they find first blood.
That is insane. Wow, that was so well played there from Graves Pass and MXC. Specifically, the sidestep on the stun from Viego was actually really insane. Like, it seemed like a small thing and that he was going to die anyway. But of course, you have that death-defying element with Renata Glass that just I can't believe it. Yeah, that was ridiculous. That one little move really saves him and gets him the kill in return. I'm kind of critical still, though, of this decision. I just don't think you have to be doing this. Just take Dragon, man. It's free. It's so free. It's been free for like the last minute, especially when you see Hecarim topside. Now they're going to go for it instead. I mean, this should be free again, but it's not as good a time to try it because you don't know where Cast is anymore. And Cast, is in the area, but I don't think he's going to try and contest this one. So
doesn't have the smite.
Yeah, eventually it's going to go down as that first dragon here for Lazy.
Let's see the top lane here. Sleeping gets the CC. Good turnaround. I mean, this lane is just on a knife's edge. So much execution. They used to go right for anyone to find the kill, though. Now Cast looking for something here. He wants to go in the two-man shockwave as well. Delivery from fourth wall as they find the first kill. Won't quite be able to take down another, but happy with that play regardless. And now Cast will get some jungle monsters as his prize.
It's just a crazy combo, isn't it? Where you can run in with Hecarim, with the ball on top of your head. And it's just a free shockwave right there. It's beautifully played. You get Onslaught of Shadows into the shockwave. Great combo. So much damage. That damage is only going to get higher as the game goes on. But here comes Ericsson.
Yeah, he wants something as well. Casto still in the area. And look at Fade's movement speed with that passive as well. No, Ericsson forced to flash away.
Pretty hairy here already. The skirmishing's starting to come through a bit earlier than I was anticipating. But it's all good. It's all good. We've got some few early kills here for fourth wall. More importantly, it's the Hecarim that picked up one of those kills, so he's now accelerated a little bit. He's able to get... Well, he's got his tier 2 boots, which is the first power spike from a Hecarim, but once he's able to pick up his mythic as well, or Shojin, whatever it is he decides to do, there's a lot of options really for a Hecarim. He'll be very happy indeed, and we'll be able to walk around with a little bit more confidence and strut his stuff just a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously the Hecarim very, very strong in the extended fights when those Q stacks have been building up. So needs that as well to really get the success he needs. Fade, I will say though, feels very safe on this Orianna, able to get the movement speed both from the phase rush and the W as well. So a lot of ways to just be able simply to walk out off engages like that we saw from Ericsson, but we saw what he could be doing in the team fights later on, right? Because that Onslaught of Shadows, so much utility in that alongside some damage as well. Could see him look for a fight with that later on as the game progresses. Deletus able to get revenge on his own Raptors being stolen to take some away from Cast, who is fishing for something here in the top lane. Felio walks straight into it, knocked back, regardless of the counter strike. Onslaught of Shadows should be up in just a couple seconds. There it is. Comes out as well. The counter strike not available. He's able to jump out. I thought Felio was dead for sure. Now there might be a cross-map play from Lazy in life. What can this bot lane do from 4th wall?
Here it comes. Lazy going for the dive.
Yeah, Grand Entrance, the quickness is there. Blade Caller comes through as well. Bailout still available though. Can they now get something onto Gutsy? No, they cannot. He falls this time around. And Lazy in life, that was a clean dive. They get out unscathed, losing absolutely nothing. And
they get the TP from Fade, which is important too. Very nicely executed there from Lazy, and really that's the price you pay by paying attention to topside. You know, I said this, it's the decision that Cast is going to have to make. Is he going to try and, you know, really put the pressure onto Falio on this Jax with using his strong Renekton, or is he going to try and protect his team from the strength of the Zyra Khan? And unfortunately, you know, trying to make that play topside just doesn't quite work out. So really, really tragic stuff actually all in all for 4th wall. And the first kill of the game from Lazy coming off a very nice macro play there. A well-read dive, getting themselves that kill onto the Viego, who up until this point was struggling just a little bit.
Yeah, he had a rough start to the early game, being caught out twice, and now able to bring himself back in. Ericsson obviously fine here, wants to take down the warp, but is unable to. He ends up assisting his jungler, taking those Raptors. So Ball's being freed out on the map as well, and remember how good that start was, Foxtrot, for Grave Pass on the bot lane. And now look at the CS differential, the ISIM differential already as well, 30 minutes in. You've been mentioning it time and time again, but there's just no denying the strength of Zyra Khan. It's a 2v2.
Yeah, we've kind of got to zoom out a little bit and look at the rest of the series from this point as well, right? And what this means moving forward for Lazy, specifically in their drafting. Like, they've now picked Zyra Khan up, which means they won't be able to play this again for the rest of the series. But knowing that means that, you know, there's a threat of 4th wall can still pick it up. Obviously, why would you let them? You know, if you know that you can't get it yourself, you just slam down a ban for the rest of the game here on either Zyra or Rakan, and you deny that combo from 4th wall for the rest of the series. You know you don't have to play against this. And it is what's interesting about that Fearless draft and how it kind of opens up a few more mind games into the draft and when it comes to the banning specifically. But you can see the power of Zyra Khan and how Lazy have really utilized it in this one. Exactly as you said, despite the level 1 where they got pushed out from a bad trade.
Now the second Drake is spawning. Looks like Lazy in life wants to take it early on. Already started up. No, they won't quite back off and they're rotating down. 4 mana here. Ericsson rotating as well. Fate have just recalled. I don't think Cast wants to go for this. Instead, just takes the ward. He might have been looking for a steal, but didn't have any vision. Thanks to a control ward in that area. And gold lead still in the favor of 4th wall, but momentum feels like it is turning towards the side of Lazy in life.
Still 1,000 gold lead for 4th wall in this one, but I definitely agree with you. The momentum seems to be in Lazy's favor for now. Cast is someone that we do have a bit of a magnifying glass on for this game on that Hecarim pick. He has picked up his first item. He's almost completed his jungle item as well to you know, get that green shield going. Question is, do you try and force a fight around the Herald or something now? You know, you've hit your power spikes. You're pretty strong, all things considered. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Grave Fast in trouble here. Will still get locked up despite the flash. Shockwave gets flashed away from. Here comes the re-engage, though they want to get something in return. TP invested as well from Sleeping, and they find deletes. It's for the 3rd time this game. But it is such a big investment, and now Sleeping has to run back to top lane because he might just lose a turret here to Falio.
Again, it's the second time here that Deletus has died, immediately being led into cast, taking away some of his jungle. Fortunately for Deletus, it's only the chicken camp he's lost both times. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot more. Yeah, just a little bit too much right there from Lazy pulling that trigger. Exactly as you said, like the momentum is definitely in their side. They're the ones who went for that play, but just not able to really make it happen, not able to get the execution off. And it is the strength of something like this Hecarim-Orianna combo. You saw it, right? Hecarim's strong enough by himself, but you stick that ball on him, and suddenly it's just too easy. It's way too easy to punish. Should be this Herald going down. I don't think the Lazy have anything to do about it. There it is, picked up for free. This pink ward, by the way, that Falio put down, I don't know, 10 minutes ago, is still standing in Fourth Wall's jungle. And it's given them so much value and so much information. I'm surprised no one's checked the bush yet. And again, there it is again. They just know. It's the immortal ward.
They just don't know. They do not know. And it's been there for ages as well. We're reaching the 60-minute point of the game. A pretty crucial point, you could say. The next couple minutes will be important because there will soon be 2 neutral objectives spawning. Both are very important. It's that third Drake, the soul point for Lazy, and the Baron as well spawning just a minute later. First items have been reached out by pretty much everyone except for the support, so slowly but surely those spikes are being hit as well. I will say though, Falio seems to be pretty happy with how this game is going. He's not put that far behind, able to pick up some plays as well earlier on in the game, so might just be completely even on gold. And as this game progresses, we've talked a bit about Foxtrot, the side lane pressure he will have and the side lane control he will inevitably have on this Jax pick.
It will be quite scary to deal with as time goes on here. Falio was struggling a tad earlier on into this game, but you know, once you've got your mythic, your level 12 here as well, like he should have the run of the show here. Absolutely, it's just not too much that Renekton can do anymore in this situation, and some of that is the downside of having to blind pick your top laner, and you know, that is the situation that Sleeping found himself in, and so Lazy was able to counter with this Jax, but also just, you know, you don't have a high energy, high impact jungler to pair alongside the Renekton, so you're not really going to get too many plays happening alongside you, so that does complicate things as Fade's in trouble.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. Flash is available, but I don't think he wants to use it because he falls regardless. Silver lining is the fact that Sim got the kill. Now Falio in a 1v2 almost finds Sleeping. I think cast with that, to be honest though. The Q stack is so big. No, he does not! He does not! Oh, this Jax is already unbeatable, man.
I mean, it's not even 20 minutes and
oh, this is so bad. Will he find us as well? Oh no, good healing.
Ooh, that is a big heal though, isn't it, from the Renekton? Falio having to run away. There is no flash from Sleeping. He did use that already in this previous gank.
Jesus Christ, man.
To get away from Falio. Falio almost had a double on that play. It's just he's just something else, isn't he, Jax? He's crazy. He got one item and then suddenly he decided that he was just going to be that complete unstoppable force. A real issue now in this game. He's 30 CS down, but does it really matter? As this game goes on, especially when that top tower falls, it's very close to falling. He should be able to just walk around and do whatever he wants to do, whether they plot him down bot side, whether he joins for like this next dragon player, whether they just keep him top to keep that pressure up. Either way, it's a rock and a hard place right now for Fourth Wall dealing with this Jax.
Yeah, goal is completely even now as well. Maybe Fourth Wall look for a big 5v4 here, then claim 2 big objectives, deny the soul point and maybe get a Baron afterwards. But at the moment, they have to make that choice already. 1 turret gone. He continues to push. Falio will not stop on this side lane. Someone either has to respond or a play needs to be made. Herald summoned in the mid lane. Will take down that tier 1. But they're giving up the soul point for this and they're losing stuff in the top lane as well. I don't know if I think this is a good choice unless they get 2 turrets here.
I think all in all, you're okay with this if you're Lazy. I think it's not bad though for Fourth Wall, and they're going to keep pushing.
Well, they get the third charge as well. This inhibitor doesn't really matter those who don't care about the charge. So they go 2 for 2 in turrets, I'm expecting Falio to take this down, yeah. 2 for 2 in turrets and lose the soul point. But they open up that mid lane so much more, which obviously is the most important lane to open up, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's a good response from fourth wall. I think all things considered, when you're looking at the trade of
That ward,
objectives,
man.
yeah, that ward is still there. By the way, it's like literally never going to get spotted
They
out.
might have just caught out Cast, to be honest, though, on that ward as well. Has to onslaught of shadows away. He will survive. Looks to maybe go back in here. They have a man advantage. Falio's in the base, has the TP, though, so could quickly join. And with Grave Pass being in the base, didn't see that. It would have been a 4v4. So now Baron is up, and I think this is really what could be deciding the game, because if that Baron buff goes to Lazy, well, I mean, Falio will just end the game within the next 3 minutes just by side laning.
Yes, it's really difficult here. And when side lanes are played well, like split pushing like this Jax is doing, it is very, very difficult to handle. And the fact that Falio was able to take 2 towers topside by himself, plus all those minion waves, means that he is pretty much on par strength-wise, items, resources to this Renekton. And if you're on par, that means you're winning if you're a Jax. Now he can just sit bot lane for the rest of the game. He doesn't have to go anywhere else. Just try and keep pressure down on that bot side of the map. Draw people from fourth wall towards him. And when that happens... Oh, they found it! They found it!
It took so long, but they finally got it, and it's gone.
Seek world champion. Finally taken down.
I mean, he genuinely might be. Regardless, though, one thing that you talked a lot about earlier, Fox, was the fact that where would Cast go with his pressure? Would he look to try and shut down the Jax and delay him, or shut down the strong 2v2 in the bot lane of the Rakan Sire? And he has failed that. He hasn't done into any of the lanes. And the good thing about the Fearless draft now for fourth wall is it won't be happening in another game. Let's see what happens up in the top lane, though. Shockwave available for both teams, as fourth wall user to force out the flash of Ericsson is still able to pick up the turret. That's a very good trade. On the bot lane, though, Falio is pushing and sleeping, so maybe they have to respond to that, or they go for the Baron regardless. It feels like as long as Falio is on the map, fourth wall are on a clock.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the important thing as well is I don't think that Jax can take this tower with sleeping being around. Like, if it gets to that point, then that is just disaster, right? Like, we even saw a little bit of that in the top side with that tier 1, where Falio's his demolish was proccing, and he was just able to take it right under Renekton's nose. If that happens, then then you're in a lot of trouble. But as long as sleeping can just hold Falio, then fourth wall is still within a chance here. There's not as much pressure being put down as there could be, but it's just so difficult at this point. 2 items now for Jax 2. Shojin being a premier item for him. He's so tanky, almost at 3,000 health. It's just so difficult. What is your decision here for fourth wall? Do you attack Falio and potentially lose the Nash? Do you try and take Nash and let Falio take your whole bot side? It's just so difficult to decide on what the course of action is. But either way, you have to go with one of them, and you have to do it with conviction and do it quickly and hit it hard and fast, so that hopefully Lazy can't then respond in the way that they would want to.
I will say, sleeping, it's not like he has performed badly. I mean, he's still up in CS. He's doing what he can. It's just really a champion different Falio, playing the side lanes nicely as well, being able to get turrets whenever possible, get chip damage down as well. But almost 10 CS a minute here for sleeping. I mean, he is trying his damnedest, but this is so rough for him.
10 CS a minute, it means very little at this point. You know, like you're 20 CS up, and that's cool. It's just the matchup at this point is just not.
Yeah, it's just
not in your favor. Yeah, it's champ diff for sure. Sleeping hasn't played bad at all. It's not on him. And considering he had to fly thing as well. Oh,
2-man shockwave. Delirious being one of the targets, but where was the follow-up, you could be asking? There was no one there. No Ash Arrow to come in as well. No hostile takeover. Cast wasn't there either, so very, very nice idea, but the execution just lacking the follow-up.
It's good just to chunk people out, right? Take them off the map and stuff, and I think that's worth using your Shockwave for, but they didn't do anything with that, and now Shockwave's on cooldown and Lazy are back on the map, so yeah, that's a tough one here. We'll see if fourth wall can deny this here. Oh, here we come.
Yeah, Solus have shown a 4-man hostile takeover, but matters so incredibly little. Still no Shockwave for the fight that is now erupting sleeping. Standing in the front line with the ultimate as well, tanking up the damage, and now he goes back in, and he's so strong. That's 10 tiers a minute, doing some work. Ericsson with the re-engage, but it is to no use. He will fall. That is 4 kills into the pockets of Fourth Wall, who can look for the Baron and the Drake as well.
And there's the answer to the Jax question. You just force the team fight, force Jax out of that side lane, out of the 1v1, and into the grouped up scenarios where he's always not going to be as effective as he is on his lonesome. And that is one of the first proper shining lights here for Fourth Wall. Not that they're getting demolished in this game by any means, but just actual, you know, you look at that and you think, okay, Fourth Wall here, we've stabilized a little bit right now. You know, we kind of do have an answer to Jax's pad. Getting that dragon there, winning that team fight. Really, really important timing as well, because it was looking as though things were slipping a little bit for Fourth Wall. And Lazy were getting the tempo of the game, specifically from that top lane matchup. But finally, a response from Fourth.
What I do want to say as well, though, the positive here for Lazy in life was the fact that Fourth Wall didn't want to risk anything, so they went for the Drake, denied the soul, which is obviously bad for Lazy in life, but the Baron now still stands on the map, so there's still something to play for, something where you can try and threaten with the split push in the bot lane for failure for the next 5 minutes, or however long you want to keep this dance going. And for Fourth Wall, they aren't in full control, even though that was a massive team fight, and so will execute to win that without the massive team fight ultimate off the Shockwave.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not scary, then I don't know what is. Falio still has his teleport here. Lazy are all around the Nash.
Yeah, they want to force the fight. TP already coming in. Baron dropping to 5k HP, but it's been reset instead as they saw the TP. They're happy with that. They know they now have a long cooldown to try and force that 4v5.
Yeah, you just get the TP and then you walk away. You don't have to force it. You don't have to flip it or anything like that. You get TP and you're all sorted. I'm not quite sure what's happened. I got a bit of whiplash there. I think we're all good. Yes, we're all good. We're just more zoomed out here. And wait, does Falio have his TP up now? What's going on? I'm confused. He doesn't have TP. Falio used TP. It's not up. I don't know whether we've just gone back in time like 30 seconds or something, or whether that's just a graphics bug for the TP. But either way, now that there is no TP available, this is your time to go in for Fourth Wall.
Yeah, okay, there were just some issues before with the freezes, so
I think
we're
this
back
is
on the second observer. I think we've just come back in time.
We'll treat this as a replay, okay? Let's treat this as a replay.
Yeah, what is a replay?
Fourth Wall.
So this is when the TP comes in, right? Yeah.
Yes. So they start it up, and as soon as they get the TP out of it, they back away, and that's very important. Like, the goal isn't to take Nash or anything like that. The goal here is to just get that TP, because now that TP is down, you can rinse and repeat that strategy, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and there will be no Jax, right? And so now he has to ask the question himself: okay, am I just pushing bot or am I grouping? And he doesn't have an easy cheat code for that in that teleport anymore.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because before it was, how were Fourth Wall gonna play around this? Were they gonna just be 4v4 around the Baron? Were they gonna force it 5 men and just give up the turrets on the bot lane and all that gold that comes with it? Or were they gonna send Sleeping down to try and deal with Falio, even though he can't win that in the 1v1 scenario? Now it's Falio having to answer those questions. Will he allow the opportunity for Fourth Wall to just 5-man the Baron, and his team has to fight a crucial fight 4v5? But he can get some split push gold with some turrets, or does he just stay with his team until that cooldown comes up and stop split pushing and just relieving that pressure from Fourth Wall?
You can kind of see what he's thinking here just by the fact that he's not bot lane right now, right? He's pushing top. The reason for that is because he's still close to Nash if he's pushing top, right? Sleeping actually might have Ericsson here.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely defends the 1v1. Dominus has been popped from both players. Unable to connect with the W, though. Ericsson now goes back and heals up. Sleeping, overextending a bit here now. He's the one on the run. In the end, though, both just get out to safety. And Baron definitely still the target for a couple more minutes until that soul potentially spawns again for Lazy.
This is the problem now. Fourth Wall, despite being in control of the game, did dig themselves a relatively big hole with those dragons, right? Lazy only need to take one more and it's soul, and it's Infernal Soul. If you're struggling in team fights, having an Infernal Soul on your side definitely helps you out. Dragon's not that hard to take either. You can steal it, you can rush it. It's a lot easier than doing a Baron dance, at least. So it's something that Fourth Wall are absolutely going to have on their mind, on the radar. They do not want to give up a free soul here. We'll kind of undo all of the benefits that you've managed to find yourself as a team so far, and all this team fight strength that you're leaning into. Definitely not something you want to play against an Infernal Soul with.
Here, and as time progresses, we're getting closer to that Drake, and also Valio's TP is getting closer to coming back up. So slowly but surely, they are losing their window here to try and force a fight around the Baron, because I have no doubt if they try to do this in a minute and a half, will they lazy in life? Well, they're just going to be going for the Drake, securing the soul instead. I think they might just be happy with that trade if they get the choice. Fourth wall, I am looking at you to be making the plays, but it is lazy who are moving down towards this bottom river, maybe just setting up some early control around the Drake.
It is smart though from Lazy to recognize like, okay, we have two strong split pushers, two teleports. One of them does not have TP right now, so let's send the one that does have TP to the bot side, and the one that doesn't, we'll keep him top. The onus now is really on fourth wall to pull a trigger of some description. Are you forcing a team fight? Are you forcing a Nash? Either way, Ericsson is coming on the flank here. Crucially, Falio is still topside. I can't quite tell, but I think his teleport might be up at this point.
I do believe it just got back up.
Just came up, yeah.
So that's massive. He can either stay on, potentially break open the base because he's already taken 2 turrets in the top side, or he could TP in for what will likely be a 5v5 around another soul. Oh, it feels like there are not many good options here because the fourth wall get it well. They deny the soul, that's massive, but they could lose an inhibitor on the top side. Such a big pressure point that would go against them. So they sent back Sleeping to try and stop Failure from doing what he is doing. TP up on Sleeping in just a minute, maybe 10 seconds. This fight feels almost inevitable, Foxtrot.
Look at Ericsson's flank here. He's walked into the bot side through the river. He's going to try and get around the backside. I don't know if he has Hecarim ult, but that's the one he's going to be looking for. No, hasn't
hijacked anything yet.
Yeah, he should be looking to pick up that Hecarim ulti. He is spotted out by Sleeping though.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive. TP comes in as well. I think fourth wall might just back off, but they can't because then they will give up the soul, so they choose to fight instead. Ooh, and look who's in the back line. It is Falio. He's on towards Gravepast, who's still alive. For now, the bailout won't be enough though. And Sim not quite taken down. Fade is being chased out, and still the Drake is alive. No one has secured it. And with the way this fight is going, well, it's going to be secured by Lazy. It will not in the end, as Sleeping takes it. That's massive. And the flash re-engaged from him. He wants to keep his team in the game, and he's doing his damnedest to do so as he takes down Simcast, able to run out on the other end of the fight, but yet another engage with that hijacked Onslaught of Shadows secures the kill of MXC. Now Ericsson flashes out to safety, absconds his way back in, and picks up the shutdown on Sleeping. Massive fight for Lazy as they turn towards the Baron.
This is it now. This is going to be the consolation prize for that team fight. You lost the Dragon. Now you have to pick up Nash instead. I'm not really sure I agree with the decision-making of the focus here. A hard focus onto Phase from fourth wall. When instead, I think Lazy really should have tried to just pick up the rest of that Dragon that was sitting in like 2,000 health. He does have Smite, but he's got no ulti and obviously no flash.
And no
sure
flash.
He'll be able to do this one. I don't think so.
I mean, maybe if just a couple seconds more lapses, he has that Onslaught of Shadows back up. 2k HP are dropping. He wants to go in. The jungler is dead. Oh, 17k HP. Can Fake get in and steal it? This could be the flip of the century. There are no smites in the pit, but it's secured by Ericsson. Now can they get out? He's being taken down and shredded from Gravebust. They pick up 2 more, but Lazy, they get the Baron somehow.
My goodness, what is going on in this game? This is absolutely ridiculous. I've seen lots of Baron flips in my time, but never with 2 teams that don't have Smite available to them.
Oh my god.
Oh man, Fade even chucked down the Shockwave to try and combo it. It is Ericsson that comes out at the end of the day, and I think honestly the most important thing about this isn't just that Lazy picked it up, but that Falio has it, right? The Jax, the split pushing machine, has that Baron buff. He's looking pretty big here. Just, by the way, we haven't touched on this at all, but itemization-wise, he's picked up a Zhonya as his 3rd item. Respect. Now, this is interesting for starters, but it definitely gives us a little bit of a hint of what his ideas are and his execution and game plan is for the rest of this game. Zhonya's is not something you pick up if you want to be split push focused. It's something you pick up if you want to have a slightly better team fight. And I guess considering how this game has gone and with this heavy focus on like the dragons and whatnot, you know, okay, fair enough. It is a little bit unique. I haven't really seen too much of this before, but definitely wants to have that stasis available to him so that he can kind of go onto like a bit of a god mode rampage in these team fights and not instantly be focused and brought down.
Drake up in 2 minutes and 20. That's about the same time when this Baron buff disappears. Sleeping, struggling to clear out the wave, and Needs to be careful not to be caught up by Lazy rotating down towards the bot side. It's clear that Lazy want to get the most out of Felio's Baron buff. And as he steps up, a lot of members on fourth wall rotating down to make sure that there's nothing happening. They might want to try and pick him off here. Instead, it's 5-man invested just to clear out the way. They might just lose the turret mid lane for this.
Yeah, Lazy are just going to push him mid. Be very happy about that one. If you draw enough attention to the Jax and it opens up the rest of the map, which has happened here, is fourth wall going to engage into mid though?
I mean, they look for it with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but as it doesn't connect, they won't go any further. 1 minute and 40 now on what would be the soul point for fourth wall. On Lazy, it would be the soul. In the end, if fourth wall managed to pick up a 4 Infernal Drake soul, that damage output is going to be absolutely massive. That's like, what, 20% extra damage in general? Or 20% extra AD and AP, and then the soul on top of it.
Yeah, it's very spooky. And a lot of both these team comps have a lot of damage in their pockets already, so exacerbating that definitely going to be painful for the people on the receiving end. Fourth wall have done a good job so far, though, of denying that Dragon Soul on 2 occasions where that Dragon fight has happened. But it's been a bit flippy. That last team fight especially could have gone either way, really, to concerning who would secure that Dragon. This time around, though, it's popping up here in just under a minute's time. I think a lot of focus will go through to this Dragon here, and we could honestly see if the team overextends for it, the closing out of this game as we are reaching that 35-minute mark.
And I definitely understand why our casters predicted this to be a close series, because, oh boy, it is a close series. I think that is fair to say. It is so tight between these two teams. We are 35 minutes in, and only 700 gold separate them. This Infernal Soul could be what decides it, but oh man, we are in for a series. I think that is fair to say. As Lazy don't quite have control over the river yet.
And this is always the precursor to a successful Dragon play, is a successful river play. Cast sort of looking for the engage right there, but really shouldn't do it without a Fade Orianna Ball on top of him. And that's really how you get that sick engage and to delete people as things go off. Philo looks like he might have been caught here. He's going to spin away with the counter strike. He's got
Sleeping
GA, by the way, and Zhonya's. So
the Drake has spawned.
Yeah.
Oh, Sleeping dashed out. Okay, so Drake happening at the moment, very slowly but surely. Deleters and Cast are here. Good CC on towards the support, though. That's the problem about it now. They want the fight. The Shockwave isn't quite there on top of Cast anymore.
So
and look at the flank. It's Felio. He finds Grave Past immediately. Fade falls as well. That's 4 gone. The soul picked up. And I believe this is the game inside the pocket of Lazy.
I mean, they're looking to play towards the mid lane right here. That is Infernal Soul. Absolutely obliterated fourth wall right there. The wombo combo was insane. Considering just looking at these team comps on paper, you'd think the team Vagram Orianna would have the advantage on the combo. But honestly, that Renata ulti just absolutely destroyed fourth wall right there, and Lazy eliminating them from the map, getting the soul, pushing down mid. Can they be stopped, or is this game one going over to Lazy?
I think it might just be over 2 seconds on MXE to come up and help his top laner, who is, to be fair, buying a good amount of time. I think he got the whole wave. This game might just not be over yet. 4 seconds on Grave Pass. Another wave coming in. They're not giving up on their onslaught. They want to keep this going. In the end, they back off. Felio now caught off with the arrow. He could be taken down here by Cast. Oh my god, there's no way they turn this right. Yes, they get him. 60 seconds on his respawn time at TP, as you say, Foxdrop. They want more. Baron spawning in 25 as well. Maybe they can launch their own counter engage if they get more. So they will not give up. They will not stop, but unable to find anything. The map's so open with that Infernal Rift, and Ericsson hijacks the onslaught of shadows, finds his way to safety. The play ends there. Just one simple kill into the hands of fourth wall, but they might just look for the Baron spawning in 5.
And here it is. That was a little bit hairy, actually, for Lazy. I think if one or two more members fall, and the minion wave is a little bit more positive for fourth wall. Easily, fourth wall counter with their own ending of the game. That would be tough.
He gets in. Oh, doesn't get the steal. I thought he had the chance. They weren't ready for it. They just flipped it completely. It was a 50-50 that fourth wall won. And this game might have fallen out of Lazy's pocket. They're certainly still in it. It's still just 800 gold separating these teams after a soul and a Baron being taken. Foxdrop, I mean, if this is game 1, I cannot wait for what's to come in this series.
I don't think I have the energy for a 5-game series like this. This is mental. This is so back and forth as well. Both these teams, you know, Obviously, Fourth Wall seeming to have the upper hand on most of the team fights, but Lazy really just coming in clutch with that one good engage around the dragon, which obviously secures them soul. And that's a permanent buff for them right now, right? And that definitely works in their favor quite significantly as well. It's going to be tough now for Fourth Wall to force these team fights against a Dragon Soul, against an Infernal Soul, especially. But they're still positioning forward here. They're still playing quite aggressive. Deletus has now respawned, so it is a 5 versus 5. And with that, I believe Fourth Wall will take the decision to back away a little bit here and chill out. See if this Dragon Soul, this Infernal, can really push the game towards the end for here in Lazy.
Not doing much with the Baron, to be honest. Fourth Wall might just be waiting for the Elder and to look to flip around that. Obviously, a massive buff, especially for the fights. But Lazy, as you say, sitting on that permanent buff, very happy just to wait out the Baron and then use the power of their Infernal Soul when they won't be playing up against the Baron buff. Fifth items slowly but surely being built here so far. Stopwatches on the side of Fourth Wall's carries, but on Lazy's side, Ericsson full build. We talked about his experience and how he needed to be the leader in this team. And oh boy, has he. Finding the engages, hijacking the correct ultimates and finding the flanks alongside Falio in the fights. He's been very, very good this game on this side. I cannot underestimate his performance. And I think if they were to win, or if they are to win another fight, I'm looking at him again to find the right engage.
Yeah, his flanks have been very, very good. Lazy's been able to make it happen and done some really good stuff there. I think it's, you know, that obviously between Ericsson and Sim here, it's between these two guys to get down the CC onto the priority targets from Fourth Wall and to bring them down. I think Silas as a whole, as a champion, does have a high window, or a high ceiling, I should say, for being able to carry games like this, especially in team fights. But a lot of it comes down to the ults that you can take. But having that Hecarim ulti available too just makes it so much easier. Just being able to jump into the middle of everyone, doing so much damage as well with that extra AP scaling you get for being Silas, and comboing that alongside a Rakan ulti. Absolute deletion for Lazy, as Ericsson now waiting in the wings, trying to catch Sleeping. Be a little bit hairy here though, he has to be a bit careful.
In the end, though, Sleeping backs off. Maybe his spider senses were tickling. Baron buff has ran out. 1 minute and 10 seconds on that Elder. It means there won't be long until this inhibitor respawns again. Maybe 2 minutes for the side of Fourth Wall. The thing is now, if they overextend, it doesn't take long for Falio to just go in and try and backdoor the game. Luckily for them, they still have a Nexus turret up. That if he gets just one minion in there, he can quickly take down that turret. Needs to be careful. GAs will be up for 3 members on the side of Lazy for the next fight. So they need to really win this dominantly Fourth Wall if they just want to win out a straight 5v5.
Elder Dragon in 30 seconds. You want to deny that. Very, very important to deny that if you're Fourth Wall. An Infernal Soul plus Elder would not be good for you at all. In fact, if that were to pass, I imagine the game would fall down into Lazy's favor as well. Falio is just going to take it. He's completely got it. Completely got it here. Sleeping cannot answer this at all.
I think Falio might look for the inhibitor here as well. And again, if he's able to just get one wave down to that Nexus turret, the Nexus turret doesn't stand a chance. So something needs to be done soon here for the side of Fourth Wall to change the situation they find themselves in. Falio will win this 1v1 against Sleeping, no problem at all. In the end, if he requires the GA or not, he's the one winning this fight. Flash forced out from Sleeping. And now the Elder is the target. A choke point might be good for Fourth Wall to find their opponents in. This Nidus takes good damage. The shockwave though goes completely wide. That is massive. The engage opportunities here as well. Ericsson, can you get in with the onslaught of Shadow? Sim found a good engage, but there was no follow-up. And here comes Ericsson. The damage has to come from him. And oh boy, does it. One shot's grave pass, but he's not dead yet. Another Scant Abduct is needed. But oh boy, that damage is massive. He finds it all. TP in from both top laners, but this time it won't change anything. It's an ace. It took 5 extra minutes, but in the end, on the back of a quadra kill, Lazy in Life will find game 1.
5 kills there over the side of Lazy. They get the soul, they get the Elder Dragon eventually too. This one should be all said and done now. Off of the power of their solo laners really making it happen, especially Ericsson in those team fights. You highlighted him, Duckling, mate. You said it. put a microscope on him. You said this is the man to watch. He's done some really good stuff in team fights. And look at that, a quadra kill to end his first game. 1-0 in the favor of Lazy.
It took 43 minutes to find our winner in this matchup, but we found one. And if that is the way this series will be playing out, man, 5 games could be in the chamber. And it felt like at one point of the game, the team fights were just straight up stronger from fourth wall. But it felt like they got almost outscaled. Ericsson single-handedly able to one-shot both carries without Falio being in the fight. And Falio still wins the side lane.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough for fourth wall. There were some symbols of hope, but when it mattered most, Lazy's team fights just came out on top.
Yeah, I think we need to throw it to a break, be able to get some water and be ready for the second game because we might be in for a long, exciting night of League of Legends. We'll see you after the break as Lazy Live took game 1 of what could very well be a 5-game series. See you after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NLC Aurora Cup. Game number 1, Foxtrot, was an absolute back and forth banger. I think that is fair to say. 43 minutes of... I don't know how to describe those team fights, but they were at least exciting. I think that's fair to say. And in the end, Lazy and Life came out on top. Certainly not Lazy in that game because they had to work hard for that victory.
Very true, very true. It was a very entertaining game, lots of back and forth. Even until before that last fight happened, I wouldn't have been able to tell you who was going to win, right? It all came down to that fight, that last Elder Dragon fight. Objectives obviously being the kind of crutch as it seems to be for Fourth Wall. Giving up 3 early dragons did kind of force them into a difficult spot where they then had to contest all of the other dragons, and it was okay until it wasn't okay, and losing Soul and then Elder in the game. Yeah, not ideal there. So I think Fourth Wall, hopefully looking into this next draft, will try and patch up a little bit of their early game weaknesses and like lack of impact and pressure that they had from their champions in the early game, so that they're not put in that kind of spot again.
And the very positive thing here for the side of Fourth Wall is there will no longer be a Jax that will be pushing in the side lane. That won't be happening for the rest of the series. That was a really big issue. They were struggling to deal with that. There won't be a Sire or a Khan in the bot lane, so you won't be dealing with the fact that you have a good level 1 and then still being 40 minutes behind at the end of the laning phase. So these things won't happen anymore with the Fearless Draft. So a lot of adaptation will be happening, and I think we will get a completely different game, to be honest with you. This game will be more indicative of what the series will actually look like, because I felt like Lazy in Life just had a really, really good draft in game 1, and they still have to work very hard for it. So if they don't keep the step up in game number 2, I will not be surprised.
But at the same time, you can argue that for Lazy in Life, having picked Azara Khan in game 1, they can't pick it anymore for the rest of the series, but Fourth Wall can. So Lazy in Life can just slam bans and Rakan or Zaya for the rest of the games and never have to play versus it either, right? So, I think there's pros and cons, right, to being in this situation here. Not being able to play it for yourself, obviously, being a bit of a disadvantage, but you might be able to manipulate draft a little bit so that you also don't have to play versus it. And I do think, obviously, it was just across the board a lot of threats from Lazy in Life that Fourth Wall kind of struggled with, and I do just want to see a little bit more coming out of Fourth Wall from their jungle, specifically in early. Don't really think Cast played a bad game, but Hecarim just isn't that kind of champion that puts down pressure and threat early. Like, he just isn't, and he wasn't really developing into anything that resembles a threat as the game goes on either. So maybe give themselves a bit of a better chance right from the get-go here in draft.
I do very much agree with that, especially because it felt like throughout the course of the game, different players were showing up for the side of Lazy in Life. At the beginning, coming back from that bad 2v2 start, it was the bot lane. They were really building up a massive lead. Then we had the mid game where it was Falio in the top lane just split pushing and really having a lead. But then when we came to the team fights, we looked over to Ericsson being able to find multiple team fights back to back. So pretty much every single player on that roster stepping up. Orianna has been banned away, obviously. Fourth Wall can pick it, but they don't want to give it up. Now, Foxtrot, we get to see, though, will Lazy in Life do what you say and maybe ban out either the Sire account so they don't have to play against it?
Yeah, I want to see what happens here, whether it is a Zaya / Rakan ban. I do think you've got to, really, because if you don't ban them here, they're just going to get picked up.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
Well, not 100%, but there you go. Like, so it is the Zaya ban. You can still pick Rakan if you want to for your Fourth Wall, but you won't be able to get that combo, which is where a lot of that strength lies. And already insta-locking the Jace here as a blind pick for Fourth Wall, so quite a high power mid laner / top laner here, solo laner, I guess would be a good way to describe it. Already you're going to be putting some pressure onto Lazy, and with the Orianna ban as well, that's one of the champions that can deal with Jace and be quite safe. I think one of the best ways to answer a champion like Jace is with aggressive ganks. Jace doesn't have any gap closers. Jace tends to push quite hard as well. A champion like Maokai in the jungle, really, really good to deal with that.
And obviously the thing is, even though the specific champions are banned, the ideas of them aren't banned. Just because you can't split with the Jax anymore doesn't mean there are other champs that can't fulfill much of the same purpose. Fiora good at split pushing as well, Camille good at split pushing, Tryndamere if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty. So they still have something like the same option, and I thought about that with that Caitlyn hopper there. You can still get other bot lane champions for the bot lane of Godzi and Sim who will look to dominate the 2v2 early on. Draven is obviously still available, so despite the champions being killed after each game they've been locked in for the respective teams, the ideas and the playstyles of them still exist mostly in other champions. With that very speed locked in that secures the AD pick, Rumble being locked in. Rumble is just currently top lane at the moment, I do believe so. Likely going into the hands of Sleeping. Would be surprised to see him go back to the jungle, which he was a couple years ago at MSI 2021. Regardless though, that locked in for Sleeping. That likely means that this Jace is going towards Fade in the mid lane. Now let's see what they pick up here. The jungler, so the top side has been secured as the Vi is locked in for fourth wall.
So far, I kind of like the theme of fourth wall's comp, where you have a bit of poke coming through from Jace, but aside from that, you just want to pull the trigger and get an engage going with Vi and Rumble ulti. I think it was quite smart as well to pick up the Varus away from fourth wall, because that also denies a full-on poke comp with that Varus and Jace combination. Yeah, just the Kasane going in top side, because Kasane is Kasane. It really doesn't, it is what it is. It's him. He does bits up there. So it's going to be that role ban instead. Really getting rid of these like potentially engage focused supports, the tanky supports, maybe something like a Nautilus ban might be coming through here as well. You still do have the Rakan available though if you are fourth wall. Yes, you won't be able to do Zyra Rakan, but as a champion, it's not terrible just to pick by himself with different matchups.
It certainly isn't. The Rill being banned, just like we saw in Game 1, this time obviously moved to the second ban rotation to make sure they had space for that Sire ban. Braum taken away as well. So, Tristana and Yone being the two bans here from the side of fourth wall, targeting out Ericsson in the mid lane. And understandably so, you don't want to give him more comfort picks because, I mean, he played a fantastic game number 1.
Yeah, he really did. He was really, really effective. Even if it wasn't right from the lane phase, like those team fights from him were great. His angles for the flanks were great as well. Very impressed with what Ericsson did in game number 1. And now we just get to see what's the options going to be here. Obviously, a lot of bans focused towards the bot side of the map. It is going to be that Alistair paired up with the Varus. So a lot of crowd control coming through here, obviously with Maokai being available too. Yeah, basically, it's very difficult to navigate if you're any of these squishy champions on the side of fourth wall, and you're going to have to play this one quite cautiously, quite carefully, and try and... I think you need to get some more range here. I think you need to get some more range so you can keep yourself safe and stay away from the likes of Maokai and Alistair. And they, fourth wall, completely disagree with me and say, we want to go in. Screw it. You guys have lots of crowd control. You guys have a lot of dogpiling. We're going to do the same. Kai'Sa's the best ADC for following up engaged, like with Varus, Vi, and Rumble, and now with Rakan.
Yeah, so obviously, as you said, right, that now means that we won't be seeing any more Zyra Rakan in the series, as that has now been taken off the table for both teams. Let's see what the pick will be. Is the mid laner missing at the moment for the side of Lazy in Life? I really don't know what to expect from Ericsson. I think this guy is just someone who plays anything. It's so hard to define Ericsson with the words other than versatile, because I've seen him play pretty much anything.
He did it.
Jumping around at the end, that's the Nico locked in.
I should have said this out loud. I was singing this in my head. Oh my goodness.
That's spicy.
That's my bad. That's my bad. I was like, Nico would be so good here, right? Because you've got so much dogpiling from fourth wall. They want to go in, they want to go forward, they want to engage, they want to fight you, right? And Nico is so good at people that want to do that, or versus people that want to do that, because she can peel with the root, but also with her ulti, you don't want to jump into an eco, right? You don't want to dogpile onto an eco because she can answer that one down really, really easily. It's just so, I think it's a great pick here. I think the Azir would have been good too, obviously with range and some disengage too. But yeah, very, very clear strategies here coming through from fourth wall, especially. They want to go forward, they want to engage. Lazy's a little bit more, they're able to disengage a bit too. I think it's actually, Lazy have kind of drafted a team that's hard for fourth wall's identity to handle. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if fourth will get an early advantage so they can still run away with this game, force all the fights. Could be a high kill game.
It definitely could. I'm excited to see how this plays out yet again. I think this game will say a lot about how the series goes. If Lazy and Knife take that 2-0, I'm starting to think it will be very hard for Fourth Wall to come back. I did predict a 3-2 for Fourth Wall, so I would not be surprised to see Lazy Knife get a second game. The thing to me is getting a 2-0, and especially if this game becomes a hard-fought one as well, it definitely hurts your mental if you lose two close games in a row. And even if they get stomped here, it would definitely hurt your mental. You could take the game to 45 minutes, you lose. You could try and snowball early, fail, lose in 25 minutes. And then, I mean, it's kind of mental boom from there onwards. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on Fourth Wall here to have some success, because if this goes wrong for them, I, as a fan, am starting to struggle to see options for them to counter.
Dude, you predicted the 3-2 reverse sweep. It could happen
I
if they
did,
lose this
but
game.
I am not someone who often believes in reverse sweeps. It's something that I have to have seen before, right? Yeah. I don't know if you remember the Dusty team from last year. I believe them as someone who could definitely reverse sweep, because I knew some of the players and their mental, and Voxen in particular.
Yeah.
So sometimes the teams have players who are able to bring themselves back up from very, very dark states. But the thing is, in this Fearless draft, it feels even harder because you can't just default to Comfort if you've picked Comfort in game number 1. That is out of the pocket. You're getting further and further out into the edge of your comfort in terms of the champion pool, and then being down on 2-0 as well if you lose. It's really, really rough. So a lot of pressure, in my opinion, on this game. Let's see if Fourth Wall can live up to my expectations.
Absolutely. Well, objectively speaking, oh my goodness, yes.
Oh my god, there's 3 of them. Oh, he finds 3 with the engage. Oh, he wanted the flank, but instead he found his own demise. What a horrible start for Fourth Wall.
I can't believe it. They read that perfectly. Lazy must be giggling in comms right now. I was like, when I saw the recover like a 5-man knockoff, I was like, okay, I mean, yeah, maybe, I guess, but no, absolutely not. You just get focused down, and yeah, great start right there for Lazy. Fortunately, I guess a little bit of copium here for Fourth Wall. It's the Cassante that gets the kill. Not a particularly high impact champion with kills, so could be worse, I guess, in that sense. But great start here in the game here from Lazy.
That is a very, very bad start to the game here. I think that is fair to say, especially getting some extra gold over to Cassante, a champ who can definitely take over a game if he gets the opportunity to. Ericsson sitting in the lane here, getting that first wave. No junglers getting a leash this time around, as they are both very much focusing on their bot lane early on. The 2v2 will be important, obviously. Sim, not much to do here as that Mukau Alistar. Level 1 very, very weak for the champion, as MXE tries to get some revenge by poking a bit in his counterpart.
Having a weak level 1 can raise red flags for Lazy here, seeing as what happened last game at level 1 as a Zyra being pushed out here. Fourth Wall should get level 2 first. They do have a bit of control of that wave, so got to be careful if you're Lazy not to get caught into a Rakan combo and then having to lose summoners for no reason. So there it is, level 2's coming through from the bot side, but doesn't look like there's any engage, so Lazy are going to be happy about that one. As FaZe is now just struggling here in this mid lane versus the Nico. A bit of a difficult matchup. A lot of poke comes through from Nico that, you know, obviously matching what Jace can do. But if Jace wants to jump in and use the hammer form to do anything, and Nico can easily just peel that away with those roots. So quite a difficult lane to play, honestly, here for Fade.
It's rough early on, and it won't be easy in the team fight if you want to get close at the very least, going up against the Nico. As you said, the pop blast is very, very good for a team who wants to dogpile in against you. Level 2s have now been reached in the bot lane, so a bit more security there for Shim, as he's no longer as weak as he was before. Jungler slowly but surely finishing their first part, as they're obviously both passing towards their bot side. Maybe they do meet at that first scuttle, only time will tell.
Vi into the Maokai matchup as well. Vi does tend to have a bit of an advantage when it comes to just beating people up. But Maokai, if playing around his team, obviously the amount of CC that comes through there, easy to lock someone down and burst them down, as MXZ has already been the victim of once this game. But I don't think there's going to be any matching here. Cast instead just looking to pass towards the top side. I don't know if Deletus will go for the bot crab instead, though. He might just end up going for the recall. Maybe covering mid or something along those lines. As, ooh, Valio, he's in a lot of trouble there from
a
sleeping.
lot of damage. Very happy that he got that 400 gold early on, because that extra bit of HP definitely making sure he's safe in this matchup. And the leaders pathing up towards this top side scuttle. Will see it has been taken. Instead, just starts his recall of his own. So the early pressure from the bot in the fourth wall, able to deny that bot side scuttle, you could say, simply because they rotated up, got the vision, and made the leader's fear going in there, as he might end up losing his life because he wasn't sure where cast was. Exactly.
You're on the money there. I think, just not knowing where the enemy team was, knowing that it's probably warded or something like that, and being a little bit vulnerable as the Maokai, yeah, definitely he didn't want to go for that, and as such it is a one camp advantage for Cast here on that Vi. I do think Vi is much more of a Cast style champion, likes to play a bit more of the aggressive style junglers, so whereas Vi is kind of a middle ground between dog jungler and carry jungler, right? Especially with nowadays a lot of Triforces coming through for her and Spirit Trojans and whatnot. Fade's still having a really, really tough time in that mid lane. It's not getting any easier for him after this first recall with a blasting wand for Ericsson and a tear for Fade, which seems to be quite thematically appropriate for how this lane is going.
Now, as we have some time without that many kills, Foxtrap, I do want to ask you some questions about Maokai, right? Because I saw this Twitter thread recently, I think it's maybe like half a month ago, about how the pros are itemizing him wrong. They are building Maokai completely wrong. And I just pulled up the thread right now. It's from some guy called Uncrowd. Never heard of him before. He's a LoL analyst and coach. So I guess he has something to his knowledge. But his points are, you should rush ability haste boots, and then you should rush anathemas. And then depending on what you're going up against, maybe Leandris is actually the best second item, because the rush of Demonic Embrace actually isn't worth it because you don't get the ability haste.
So what was his rush item he suggested?
The rush item is ability haste boots.
Yeah.
And then it is anathemas for the health, which is very good on Maokai, and the ability haste, which is very good on Maokai.
What the hell is
And I've tried it out, right? I like playing Maokai every now and then when I'm in the jungle, and I will say the build feels absolutely fantastic. You can definitely feel the extra ability haste. It feels really good.
What is Athena's?
Anathemas, the one you put on an opponent and they get more CC. Anathemas,
okay.
yeah.
So I'm with you.
And then obviously the HP and the ability haste, right?
I thought you were saying like like Athena's on Holy Grail, like Athena's.
Oh yeah, I mean that would have been some cooking if that was.
Yeah, I was like, that's not been in the game for a hot minute. I don't think you rush that. And I guess that's cool as well. I think ability haste on a champion that has a huge amount of CC is always powerful, always beneficial. I mean, I'll be honest. I play League of Legends for content, and Maokai is not a content champion. He's very boring.
Yeah, he's definitely not.
My in-depth knowledge of Maokai builds is a little bit lacking, to be honest. I think a lot of what pro players tend to do though is just kind of fall back onto comfort and what feels good. No, items that feel good. So even if they do tend to go for some suboptimal builds, that's as long as it feels good, they're happy to do it.
Yeah.
But I also think the value of anathemas goes up depending on the enemy team comp. If there's one source of damage, say for example there's only one physical damage or there's only one AP threat on the enemy team, then anathemas gets so much stronger, so much more valuable, because you can just put it on that one threat and then you become extremely tanky.
We have a kill in the top lane. Yeah, Falio looking for a 3-man up here as well. Sleeping is in trouble. He just wants to clear out the wave. He knows his fate and accepts it. Even though he used the flash, there was no way out. Good pickup here. Falio with a very good all-out to just absolutely delivering Sleeping into his team. As Fate will look for some exit poke, but unable to really find anything.
Love that Sleeping didn't even try and ult to save himself. Was just like, I will get these minions. I will. They will be mine. And just slaps down the red carpet just to pick those up and get that push in. It's early days, obviously, so between that and the TP, he shouldn't be out of action for too long, as Fourth Wall now looking to potentially position to take this Herald. Flirting with the idea, at least. There's the engage.
Simdo caught out. There's no unbreakable will. And before I even get to say that, he's just deleted off the Rift. No level 6 means no safety. That's the first kill for Fourth Wall in this game, and Herald secured.
That is an interesting choice right there. As you mentioned, Sim without his ulti is basically paper, as is Alistair, as he found out right there. MXC having the quickness available, able to get that lockdown and get the engage. So it's a kill for fourth wall and taking the Herald as Grave Pass now. Has he bitten off more than he can shoot? MXC is coming in.
Yeah, might have, but has the help of his teammates, luckily. So then that makes the play all right in the end. Grave Pass finds the kill, forces both summoners out of himself, and Gutsy, in the end, though, gets that kill.
Good stuff right there for fourth wall. Grave Pass as well. I think, to be honest, in my eyes, this is one of the players that needs to do a little bit more heavy lifting, I guess, in this game number 2. Because he is...
he might be in trouble here, though.
Yeah,
No flash, no
flash
cleanse,
or
no
cleanse.
killer instinct. There's absolutely nothing you can do if you just get CC chained to Oblivion. Ericsson should be able to pick this up. This should be completely free for the lazy and live mid laner. And giving gold to a Nico isn't that good when the Pop Blossom can just decimate your whole team.
Giving gold to Ericsson. This guy, this player, he went absolutely massive last game. He's the last person that I'd want to be giving resources and gold to. A bit of overextension there for Grave Pass, but it was nice for him to find that play to make it happen, because I do think from game number 1 he didn't have the greatest game there on the Ashe, and we want to see things get turned around if fourth wall do want to make a comeback in this series. So to find that opportunity, and that's all nicely done right there. Getting the kill into his pocket, able to pick up that fast Storm Razor.
Yeah, it's happy days here for the lazy knife mid lane. It was a wonderful game in game number 1. He got an extra play down the bot lane as well, so a lot of gold just funneled into him. What I will say though is one thing that's scaring me a little bit here for fourth wall is the fact that Falio is sitting on 2 kills as well. And he's not too far behind in CS, despite having looked to struggle at moments up against Sleeping's Rumble. And, I mean, Kazanti just scales so incredibly well. He's oh so strong as he scales up and gets that for all out. The damage and the tanking is very, very hard to deal with. But I'll move on from that, because we might be in for a fight here, Deletus. Luckily for him, didn't take that blast cone.
I'm surprised he didn't put the sapling in this bush in the river here, just to at least get some information. That's like fourth will want to start this dragon up. They want to contest it. There is a push into mid lane for Jace too. Not sure Lazy can contest this one. I think they're just going to let it happen, potentially. Maybe not.
No. They do want to respond. Ericsson is rotating slowly but surely. But there's a fight on the other side. It's Ericsson almost being taken down single-handedly. But the Drake in the end goes over to the leaders. How much will they get here? Fourth wall looking for something. Flash forward towards Ericsson. Fate will find the solo kill. But on the other side of the fight, it's Lazy and Live winning. As Sleeping now TPs in to try and turn the situation around, and I think he might be able to, as Falio is so low and will fall with a couple more auto Simfolds as well. It is turned around and it's hit 4 kills for 2 in the end. Lazy in Life got the Drake, I do believe. It is such a dirty fight in the end, man. Not sure what I watched. It was scrappy, but fourth wall came out on top.
It was hella scrappy. I think fourth will be happy with that one though. All things considered, losing dragon isn't ideal, but you know it's not a crucial dragon to lose. It's not putting you on soul point or anything like that. And getting 4 kills for 2 is great, especially with the shutdown coming through against Falio as well. So Sleeping now is pretty far ahead actually as far as his gold goes. Even the Jace too, 2-0 and 1. Exactly the kind of injection that fourth wall were looking for here to get back into this game, as Lazy now put a lot of resources into the top side, and Cars has just responded by putting down the Herald bot. This is a brilliant cross map play here for fourth wall.
Yeah, very good cross map play. Positive for Sim though was that he was able to get that flash out of Sleeping, so got a bit cooldown. There are a lot of times they could look to punish, but they themselves doesn't have many flashes up. It's actually only Sim who has flash on the map. And this isn't quite a replay of what we were watching earlier, but it's the exact same situation playing out. This time, though, with yet another guaranteed fate, it is Sleeping dying.
Sleeping is out of there, and that is the fourth kill, excuse me, for the Kazanti. He has Sleeping definitely struggled a little bit here with these ganks, and to be honest, it's kind of just how it is, really, right? When you're playing a champion like Rumble, you do draw a lot of attention to yourself. You have a bit of a target on your back, and you are quite easy to focus down when there's so much CC. And 5 kill participation out of the 6 for Deletus. It's kind of expected when there's low mobility characters on the opposing side, and you've got all this point and click CC.
Oh, yeah, I got see. He's dead. Talking about point and click CC, there's some as well. Fourth wall finds the kill.
That's pretty easy. I don't think you'll see a kill much easier than that one. Popping out a fog of war with the assault and battery. Just, yeah. No response to that. The Godsey is going to lose his life. See what Lazy can do on the rest of the map.
Maybe they can get something in this mid lane, but Fade, without the flash, could be in trouble. Yeah, here comes the cavalry. CC locked up. Pop Blossom is there as well. More CC. Q out
CC,
from the third
man.
range. He should fall right.
out.
No way that Fade Rush saves him. Absolutely unbelievable. As he just walks it off.
How does he survive that? That's illegal. That's so illegal right there. He should be... I mean, there was like 6 different layers of CC thrown on top of him. He's a Jace. He's not tanky at all. He doesn't care in the slightest. Alistair CC, Maokai CC, even the knockups and the roots from Nico. It was not enough to bring him down, and that really sucks. That is a lot of resources you put into, a lot of time, a lot of effort into trying to kill Jace, and you just don't get anything from it. Not only that, but because you've put so much into that, you now have to give up position on the Herald too. And look at this bot gap, by the way, in gold. You can see the gold totals here. It's relatively even across the board, except 2.7k diff
in 50
between
minutes.
Varus and Kai'Sa. That is significant.
It most certainly is a significant difference. And as you said, it feels so bad to invest so heavily, especially because it was the right target they were going for. No flash, no real opportunity to escape. 200 gold bounty as well, so it would have been a lot of gold that would have gone into Ericsson or whoever got the kill's pocket. But just able to walk it off. I mean, I'm not sure how there wasn't enough damage, but there just somehow wasn't. And that led to him surviving. Now they might go for round 2 here towards the bot lane. Still no flash on Fade. TP in. They want to get the 4th man in. This kill is definitely going to happen. I bet you there is no way out of this one.
There's got to be, surely.
No, he's dead. He's dead. But he will pay the price, of course. Yeah, as you say, the response in the mid lane is happening as we speak. That's 2 turrets potentially.
It's the second time here that Lazy have gone for a gank on one side of the map, and then the Herald has been slapped down on the other side. Godsey has to be a bit careful. He's all by himself there. But of course, the collapse is now coming through from Lazy. Here's Ericsson.
Oh, he fails, but somehow still finds 2. MXE being one of them. One more auto will get him, but Ericsson finds himself in the front line. The re-engage from 4th wall won't pick up the kill initially, but Sleeping is there as well now. They find Ericsson. Godsey's still alive, but he gets absolutely eviscerated by the AD carry. That's 2k gold ahead of him. Sleeping now finds himself in a 1v3, being poked out. TP in from Fade. Yeah, as you say, he will find the Deletus here and takes him down. Felio has to do a lot here if he wants to secure the teamfight win. I think he might be able to go for it, but in the end, backs out. And that's a 3 for 3 overall?
3? Yeah, I think so. 3 for 3.
3 for 4 if you include the bot lane play as well.
Yeah, it's pretty close overall. Wow, what scrappy fights here. I mean, this whole series is just going to be like that, isn't it? It's just how it's going to go down right now. Falio, though, might be in trouble from Fade.
Yeah, I think Fade,
he is Cassante.
Fade only has 1 item, and as you say, Cassante is Cassante. Nice flash, but I think... I'm not sure if you could have just walked it off otherwise, but Cassante, man, don't underestimate Cassante.
No, but he didn't have his ulti. I think if that ult was up, I don't know. Maybe Cassante could have had that one. Like,
and he's 5-1 and 2 as well, right?
Yeah. He's
fed. He's fed.
He's ginormous at this point.
And fuck up. Just before this Drake, I do want to highlight the difference in AD carries just once again. Before you could see it in the goal, but now it reflects in the item as well. 2 items already on Grave Past, only 1 on Gutsy, and maybe this could be the difference maker in this fight. Second Drake for either team here as now the engage comes through. Sleeping is the target knockback with that 3rd charge Q. The ultimate comes out. Hasn't quite picked off anyone yet. 3k HP on the Drake, and dropping will be a 50-50 secured by the leaders. Now the fight really erupts though. Cast is in the front line. Ericsson looking for the flank. Will find Grave Past and Sleeping. That's absolutely massive. As now it's Felio on the front line. 3-man knockback, but they can't quite find the kills. The damage just not quite there. Gutsy falls. So does Ericsson. And so does all the damage on the side of Lazy. In life they got the Drake, but they lose 4 on the other side.
And they're bombing it down to the bot side here. They've got a minion wave close to the turret. Going to use that to try and take an inner turret tier in the bot side of the map. Fade was just massive in that team fight. He was essentially left untouched This first pick Jace coming up huge in these fights. Really, like, there's just so many threats from the side of fourth wall. Lazy just, they can't deal with all of them. And there's always going to be someone that slips through the cracks. This time around, it was Fade, and he was just free hitting. He was shooting out those shock blasts, doing so much damage. 300 gold bounty now, 5 kills for him too. And look at the carries here from fourth wall. Look at the Jace, look at the Kai'Sa. And this barrel down, dogpiling team comp now becomes a lot easier to play when the carries are this threatening.
Fourth wall are in the driver's seat of this game, looking to take game number 2. But with these bounties building on their main carries and the teamfight tools that are available on the side of Lazy in Life, they need to be careful not to give it up. They can't overextend, but if they play the way they are at the moment, especially both Gravepast and Fade stepping up in the teamfights, well, then they're in good position. And if Sleeping does stuff like this, well, that just improves your already good situation.
Yeah, you take that. 1 and 4 on the Rumble. Down in CS as well. 2 items just casually obliterates the Nico in that scenario. I mean, obviously Nico's more of a team fighting champion, so yeah, but that's still a little bit sad. As Lazy are kind of just falling apart at the seams right here. 8,000 gold behind at 20 minutes as here comes some more fighting.
This doesn't look good at all. Felio tries to do something with the all out, but maybe just to get himself to safety as the leaders gets picked off. Baron is on the map. They might go for it. But with cost being low, I think they might just back off instead. Focus on the tier 2 in the top lane, which they certainly will secure here. There's no doubt about that. Ericsson TPing in on the flank. Let's keep our eyes on him. Good engage initially from Sim. The turret still stands and Sleeping is falling to it. Now here comes Ericsson. Can he find them? Can he find the correct targets? Yes, he finds Fate, but now Gravepass is the one alive, and they need both carries to win the fight. Sim just falls. They don't have the damage, and they can't quite find both carries, so fourth wall still standing.
This is it, isn't it? If you choose the Kai'Sa, then Fade bobs you. If you choose Fade, then Kai'Sa bobs you. There's just too many threats right here, and I think Lazy, you know, they do have some good AoE threats, but also mostly it's like single target, right? With the headbutt pole, with the twisted advance from Maokai, you can do that to catch people, but only one at a time. And there's just too many threats now for fourth wall. They've gotten too big. Kai'Sa's too hard to deal with. So's Jace. Who do you go for in these fights? Because you're leaving one of them free hitting, and that's always a recipe for disaster here. Almost 10,000 difference now at 21 minutes into the game, despite relatively equal kills. Yes, fourth wall are very much in the driving seat of this one. Very happy, and it's looking good to tie the series up.
Yeah, we thought this might be able to go to 5 games, and it's certainly showing why Ascotzi gets caught out and dies. Let's see what the response will be from Lazy in Life. Will it be to just concede what needs to be conceded, or will they go for something? Luckily for them, I think it's the right decision not to do so, as they are now 10,000 gold behind. And despite Cassandra being 6-2 and 4, it doesn't feel like he's 6-2 and 4 anymore.
No, and this is it. This is the difficulty, right? I did say when Cassante got that first blood, it was a bit of copium, but at least it's only a Cassante who gets it. And I know there are memes about Cassante and what he does, but he's not really a 1v9 champion, right? Like, he's not going to be a hard carry for you. And he hasn't been able to carry Lazy this game. As Lazy now, oh dear.
Yeah, they turn on Sim and they just delete him as well. Fade wants to make sure there is no way for the leaders to get in here. And there won't be a way. 1.2k, Smite secured. Yes, they get a turn on the bot side, but this game is all but over as fourth wall looks just tie the series up.
That's what they're hoping so far. They've got Nash now. It is over a 10,000 gold difference. Lazy have a team comp that's really built to deal with fourth wall and their dogpiling and their engage. But at this point, fourth wall is so far ahead that the comp of Lazy just doesn't deal with it very well. There's not really an answer here anymore. There's a lot of CC, so potentially you can try and make a pick, try and make a catch or get a play onto someone. I believe that's kind of the route back into this one here for Lazy. But all things considered, it's just so difficult to play versus. Fourth wall will just group up. They're playing this 4-1 in this scenario here, and they press like Vi ulti or whatever, and someone's gonna die. There's not too much you can do about it.
Yeah, and as the base now gets broken open, Lazy in Life might be doing their last stand. They try to take down Sleeping, they get some good damage on him, but at the same time Felio gets hit up as well by some good damage. Golden goes Sleeping, and Lazy in Life might just go down here. Yes, they will, as the engage fully comes through. I think that's the fair answer. Ericsson falls the snipe from Grave Pass. Is absolutely phenomenal. And that will nicely tie this game up. Move the series to 1-1, and Fourth Wall with the momentum swinging back in their favor look so strong in game number 2. As Godsey and Sim have nothing to do except defeat. As Fourth Wall
defeat.
make that 1-1 on the scoreboard.
There it is. We're all tied up right here, and I do want to give a good shout out to Grave Pass in this game. Kaiser ADC from Fourth Wall. I think his first game was a little naff, to be honest. I don't think he would be particularly satisfied with how that one went down. But in this game was absolutely something else. Really, really well done. Great bounce back game for Fourth Wall, and a very convincing win as well. Let's not forget that first game was very back and forth, very close. Fourth Wall had opportunities to win it, but this one, not like that at all. Just a huge statement return game for these guys.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what Game 3 brings, because to me it feels like this will really decide which way the series is heading, because at the moment I'm starting to doubt my 5-game predictions, because I think if Fourth Wall win Game 3, they will tie it out 3-1. But if Lazy in Live, show something new in Game 3, take a dominant game, I'm just struggling to see the Game 5. That's all I'm saying, because, I mean, with that Fourth Wall performance, that was incredible. Even if they gave up first blood early, they got behind. I mean, they just were better overall.
It was quite one-sided. Definitely one-sided. And that's questions maybe of how they're going to adapt into draft coming into game number 3. Is it something where, Lazy just were able to outdraft in the first game, and now because we're in the Fearless draft, they're not going to be able to do a similar thing, and so that might just be kind of doom for Lazy here, right? A 4-4 now in their comfort zone. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe Fourth Wall are where they exactly want to be. Yes, we will find out after the break if they can take game number 3 and move up to match point, or if Lazy in Life will strike back after what was quite a lazy performance in game number 2. We'll find out right after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NLC Aurora Cup game number 3 in this first semi-final between Fourth Wall and Lazy in Live. Game 1, back and forth, 45 minutes close, Lazy in Live won. Game 2, I mean, that was just domination
Yeah,
of Fourth Wall.
it was very close to beginning the series, and then very not so close in the second game here. Fourth Wall managed to tie it up in that second game, and honestly, it looked really, really dominating to the extent where, despite going down 0-1 to begin with series, I mean, they've got to be favorites moving forward here, right? Like what they were able to do and adapt their draft as well. I think a lot of questions really come through from the draft, especially in fearless mode, which is what we've got going on here, guys. Is this something now that actually Lazy are going to be struggling with? They got a lot of really good picks in game number 1, like the Zyra Khan, like the Silas, and even something like Jax, which is sort of unique in and of itself, with like the strategies that you employ when you have a Jax on your team. And now they can't do those anymore, right? They can't pick those. So I think it's got to continue, and we'll just see if Fourth Wall have figured them out.
Yeah, Fourth Wall, as we talked about, looked so good in game number 2, and they were also at points of the game good in game number 1. That game was so close, remember, really balancing on a knife's edge. But as we are talking about Fearless Draft, things will be changing. 10 champs each team now cannot pick anymore as this series progresses, and as the bans continue to evolve throughout the series. One thing that has stayed a constant is the first ban Talia from Fourth Wall, and the Nocturne and Jarvan ban from the side of Lazy in Life.
Yes, makes a lot of sense. Ericsson well known for his Talia, and Cast well known for his Jarvan. And Jarvan is exceptionally meta right now. Very, very strong pick. I think again you'll probably see the Xayah/Rakan ban here, and it wouldn't be Rakan, would it? Actually, well, I don't even think you need to ban either of those two anymore, right? Because they so Zyra Khan is gone from Lazy. They can't use either of those champions, and Rakan is gone from Fourth Wall. So they can't do a Zyra Khan. They could still choose Zyra though, of course. But yes, that is pretty much the identical sort of ish bans from last game. The Jace being
the Jace being the only exception. The thing is, though, the Aurora was the ban last game. The thing is, in the first game, Lazy in Life, they really quickly banned away this rail in the first rotation. Game number 2, they did it in the second rotation. This time, though, first pick rail for the side of Fourth Wall. And the respond from Lazy in Life is the one pick I have learned from watching Worlds 2023 that EU teams should not pick. It is Israel. Let's see what it will be paired up with, though.
It is definitely curious. I think you're kind of reaching relatively deep here into your champion pools. I mean, normally, I guess, I'm kind of raising my eyebrows a little bit about such an early Ez pick, but you have to bear in mind in this fearless draft mode, they can't pick Xayah or Varus.
But Kai'Sa is open, though.
Yeah, I know. Kai'Sa is open. The Ashe is still open. Siva, like Draven, there's a lot of choices, but I do just think you end up reaching kind of deep into your champion pools. That's a Vayne slap down here. Is that a Rel Vayne bot lane, or is that a blind sleeping Vayne? Either way, we're going to get some Vayne gameplay here in game 3.
Yeah, this is really exciting, and there has been this new build popping up in solo queue. One of my friends has been playing it a lot. It's the not lethal tempo. It's the fleet footwork build where you build for one-shotting with Essence Reaver and stuff like this to really give a lot of power to your Qs. Those empowered outtakes really deal a lot of damage to single target. It's not good at wave clear, and it's not as good as against tanks, but those squishes like the Ezreal will just vanish. Let's see if that will be built here. I would like to see it. It would be exciting to see in competitive play. But the Akali, another exciting champ to watch in competitive play as well.
If you're a squishy on the side of Lazy, you're going to be kind of scared looking at this draft right here, especially if as you've pointed out, that kind of new tech Vayne build comes through, which is better versus squishies. Obviously, the Akali needs no explanation as to why that's scary for squishies. It's going to be that Renekton lock-in. There's a bit of a blind option topside here for Falio. We've seen a lot of Renekton. Well, we already saw a Renekton, obviously, in game number 1, being piloted by Sleeping. And now it is just going to slight focus towards the top side of the map in the champion pool pinching here. They don't want to play versus Gnar. They want to get Falio as best of a matchup as possible, considering he will be counterpicked here. And Ericsson the focus now for fourth wall. So no Oriana. Obviously Talia is already banned. The Jace is banned away. With this Akali being picked as well. You want to get as best matchup as possible for Fade in the mid lane.
Yeah. Now being banned away, one of Sleeping's most played champ throughout his professional career. Oriana ban, we saw that in game number 2 as well, from fourth wall after they themselves picked it in game number 1. They do not want to see it. On the side of Lazy and Live, the Aatrox ban as well, another well-played champ here by Sleeping, has most played being that Ornn. Obviously something that just fits into any composition. Who wouldn't like an Ornn on their team? So no reason to ban that away, as there are other more important picks to deny giving this rough matchup over to Felio.
Exactly, getting some, at least easing the burden of some of these counter pick options here for Sleeping. A lot of respect being paid to him as a player, which I think is well deserved. This guy has a pretty big rap sheet. He's achieved some good things in the regional leagues. He's very well experienced too. I certainly would not want to be in Falio's position here, having to blind pick versus him. And is that Lee Sin for Deletus here, which I think is very, very interesting. I think Deletus, to be perfectly honest, hasn't really overly impressed me so far. And Lee Sin obviously takes a lot to pilot properly. I mean, the skill required to make Lazy's team comp work so far, just from having an Ezreal and a Lee Sin, certainly will complicate things for them. And it just depends whether they show up in this game, because you fluff up a few things and some of your champions are really quite weak. Fourth wall, on the other hand, to be honest, some difficult champions as well, like Vayne and Akali, but with this lots of AoE CC, makes it a lot easier to set his team up with that Ornn, as you mentioned, Sleeping's most played champion. Rel in the bot side for MXC. And will it be this Kindred? I think it does kind of make some sense, to be honest, to lock in that. So it will be Castle, another more selfish style jungler here, looking to potentially take the game into his own hands a little bit more. And it will be that Azir as a response.
Very interesting draft. As you say, execution is hard here on the side of Lazy in Life. If this works, it will be very impressive. So much more stock standard. As you say, still hard champs, especially the damage dealers on the side of fourth wall are also hard to execute. By no means completely easy. But the AoE damage, the AoE CC, the front line as well with the Rel and the Ornn should just be better. I mean, Lazy in Life have to have cooked something up in the early game for me to really give them much of a chance here, in my own personal opinion. And I'm looking at the leaders who, as you say, hasn't had the best series so far, needs to step up now more than ever to keep his team relevant in this game.
I do think, if we're just taking these team comps at face value, I do like what Lazy has done here. I specifically like the range that's coming through from this team comp, right? When you've got Azir and you've got Ezreal, and you're playing into very low range damage from the side of fourth wall. Like Vayne is a low range champion. Kindred is a low range champion until she gets more and more of those stacks. And even Akali, right? I mean, she's a melee champion that will jump into your face. So having that range, I think, really can be beneficial for you, or make it a little bit easier for Lazy to execute. There's some high skill cap champions on their team, but I do think having that range advantage kind of nullifies that a little bit. Draft wise, I do like what they've done. I think despite fourth wall having the complete run of things in game number 2, I think Lazy have set themselves up for success here in this third game.
Yeah, maybe they have. I'm not too certain with the draft. I think if they execute it, it's gonna work. It can work. Oof, but I am nervous, though. I think this game will decide so much in terms of where momentum will go, who will be leading. Obviously, going to match point is nice, and it is as this whole series has been hard for me to predict who's gonna win. I was really, really confused as well when we were doing the predictions. I was so uncertain. Who am I gonna choose? Is it gonna be fourth wall? Was it gonna be Lazy in Life? And in the end, the coin for me just landed on fourth wall. But it could have gone either way, and I feel the same with this. My heart at the moment and mind is saying that fourth wall won the draft, but with your opinion coming in as well, and seeing the champ as well, if Lazy in Life get going in the early game, I'm not gonna say no to them winning this game. They definitely can. And I think it's even, to be honest, if the early game goes the way of Lazy Life, anything can happen. But if the first 20 minutes are quiet, I'm very, very confident in Fourth Wall winning this.
Yeah, I think to Fourth Wall's credit for their team comp, they have some very easy to execute engage from long range as well, right? So you've got the Ornhorn coming down, followed up by Rel. It does make it relatively easy for Fourth Wall to then jump in on that and to choose fights where they want them. Yeah, it just is difficult, right? When there's a champion like Azir throwing his soldiers at you and Ezreal with all of his skill shots, you can get chunked down. It can be hard to get on top of those characters, and you can lose a lot of your health bar trying to do so. It really will just depend on whether or not Lazy can get to a point where they're hitting those skill shots and those skill shots are meaning something, and if Fourth Wall can actively deal with that, whether it's a hard engage coming through from their team or whether they're face tanking things like the Ezreal Q and not losing all of their health, right? If Rel gets sufficiently tanky enough, and the same for Ornn, because you don't want a Kindred and a Kali or a Vayne tanking anything really, let alone an Ezreal skill shot. So could be a little bit difficult here, but all in all, I do think there's some positives for both team comps, and I just think range is just king in League of Legends. It's great. So I like how Lazy are bouncing back or attempting to bounce back here in game number 3.
One of the things I really like about the Kindred, though, is if you get hard engaged upon, you can be very safe. If they all just jump on one target, and it's a good ultimate from Cast that keeps everyone in the Slam's respite, well, I think Fourth will have a chance to reposition, then, play the fight front to back from there onwards. But the Lee Sin throws kind of a wrench into that plan, because a good kid could get a crucial target out. I mean, the more and more I think about the draft, I see, pros and cons of both teams. And then we're back to what we felt in the game 1 as well. It is down to execution. And when it's down to execution, we know the games can go long. We saw that in game number 1, and we might see it here today as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that Fourth Wall's draft is terrible by any means. I just, I like how Lazy has answered with this. A lot of it comes down as well to how the lanes are played out early game, because Ghosty might be a little bit caught here, just going to be jumping away. Okay, nothing to write home about there. Cast wants stacks, right? He wants stacks to not be as low range as the Kindred, both his Q range and his auto attack range. The magic number is 4 to begin with, and then it's every 3 stacks after that. So 4, 7, 10, 13, etc. The reason why Kindred is not, she's a bit different in professional play compared to solo queue is because it can be very difficult to get your stacks, right? They only spawn either the first stack will be at one of the crabs, but apart from that, it's always going to be in the enemy jungle or on players. And games just aren't as chaotic in competitive play, right? For Kindred to get as many stacks as she wants. So sometimes that can be tougher, and you find Kindreds who are a little bit starved, really, of that range. And we'll see if Fourth Wall can enable the Kindred, get some of those stacks going, get that range ramping up.
A good trade early on here from Fade. What I will say, with that, with the Doran shield and likely the second wind, he is very tanky in terms of these trades. No fleet footwork to get that extra bit of healing and movement speed, but goes to the Conqueror for the more damage. Ericsson, I think he needs to be kind of careful here for the level 2. Good engage would force a flash, but as he gets it first, I think he feels very safe now to be able to step up.
Fade crucially has no flash either, right? Which is not too atypical for an Akali, because she's got more than enough tools to keep herself safe, gap closing and whatnot. But it is something to bear in mind. He won't be able to surprise Ericsson with like a flash engage or anything like that. And if Lee Sin does show up, if Deletus gets into that mid lane, she can be very, very vulnerable, as it looks like that mid has kind of turned into Ericsson's favor here. So many minions though right now, put barreling into Lazy's bot side. Cast is looking for a play. This is it. It's all about the lane priority and moving with that lane priority. With your jungler, Lee Sin could be in trouble. He is hunted by Cast.
Yeah, MXE is here as well. Good jungle support synergy early on to force the leaders out. Just gets the flash instead. That means the stack won't be given over, as Caster steals away this blue buff successfully.
Anytime you have a jungler that wants to be proactive and walk at the enemy jungle, you need to make sure you have lane priority to back that up. If you have your teammates coming in to help you, then you can make a lot of plays happen. And the reverse is also true. If the enemy team's laners are coming to stop you, then you just have to walk away. A lot of stuff is happening in the bot side of the jungle here, though. I think Cast will just walk away from this one. Deletus is going to be able to hold on to his wolves. He'll be happy about that. Losing his blue, unfortunately. And now we got to keep it up. We got to keep it up here because that is the first mark has landed on the bot crab. Cast doesn't look too worried about it, but I don't know, I don't know.
Something has happened in the mid lane as well. Notice the fact that Fade is now low, has used his Ignite.
Yeah.
Ericsson, both sums expended. That means he now has control on of the wave. So, with the earlier play being made and the TP invested, there is no control for Cast to get that stack. Lost a coin flip, you could say. The leaders now might look for more. We'll meet Cast here. No engage initially by anyone, as TP now comes through from Fade into the mid lane as well, and the lanes are back to their original state.
You're entirely right. It's lane diff there. It was working in Cast's favor when he went for the invade, and then unfortunately, when that crab spawned and the mark came up, as you rightly pointed out, Fade was chunked out. Ericsson had gotten the recall and gotten the TP in before Fade had been able to. Bot lane was also pushing in, so nothing for Cast to do there. He will get double crabbed when all's said and done here too.
And the Fade just has to try and soak up as much of this poke as possible. The Akali does an okay job of that. Akali is I think we've seen a lot throughout the year. So it's pretty common what you need to do for the Akali to survive. This obviously excels in the solo lane. So when you get that level 6, the perfect execution to help close the gap really means a lot. But until then, it's just about surviving.
That's what the Doran shield is all about. Just keeping yourself safe from all that poke.
Let's see what happens. I mean, I thought genuinely MXC could go for that.
I think so. He had more minions as well. The minions were in a decent spot. He could have potentially done it, but doesn't want to risk anything there. I mean, they are quite slippery, right? The side of Lazy, especially the Ezreal. Maybe he just thinks they'd have to, if they did engage, they'd have to engage onto Nautilus, and that would be bad news for fourth wall. But whenever you have this many minions knocking about in your favor, you tend to just win regardless. So it might just be like a dragon play or something along those lines, or maybe another invade into the bot side of the jungle. Fade obviously having that push in mid. Grave Pass and MXC having this push in bot. It does open up the bot side of the jungle for Cast, and you can see he is taking away that Gromp right now, but at least it might spot him out eventually.
Grave Pass simply too greedy to get that third auto off, and it is punished. And that's first blood for Gutsy. A lot of summoners invested, but it's definitely worth it. Thank you very much, they say. As now Cast is here to try and turn the situation into a good one for the side of fourth wall. But as the leaders arrives, this goes from bad to worse. 3 dead on the side of fourth wall, and this laser comp is activated.
It's all greed, isn't it? It's all greed from start to finish. The greed from Grave Pass to try and activate that third hit. Gets himself locked down on the tower, and the reason why he dies. And then the greed from Cast, getting that Gromp, finishing that one off, but then deciding to go for the engage. Maybe they assumed that Deletus would be top side of the map. I'm not really sure, but it was greedy regardless to try and get a return kill there. And 3 kills now over to the side of Lazy. Great start for these guys, trying to bounce back in this series.
Yeah, this, as we're talking about, a very important game number 3. Winner will go to match point. And after such a embarrassing defeat, I think you can almost call it from for Lazy in the last game, considering how game 1 went. They really did get humbled a bit, brought back to reality, and their performance so far shows that they are playing to the best of their ability, punishing their opponent's greed and mistakes. As the first stack should now be picked up from Cast, 3 more to go for that extra range.
He's level 6 now.
And Lamb's Respite is up. A fight might break out here. 4v3 at the moment. Grave Pass rotating up. Not many summoners on this Lazy bot lane. Actually, 0 as Sim set to fall. Fate will pick it up. Will they go for more? Gutsy, as I said, no sums. Does obviously have their arcane shift, but it won't be needed. As Fate picks up that double kill. Good response there from fourth wall to get back in the game as they secure the Drake as well.
Very, very nicely played there by fourth wall. Great synergy between the Rel and the Vayne, you can see, to kind of snap the Ezreal back and then condemn them into the wall. I was a little bit surprised, I guess, that Ericsson didn't try to put down his ulti in that choke point as fourth wall was running from the river into their jungle. I think maybe that would have done bits to deter fourth wall there on their advance. Either way, it doesn't go down, and that is something. As Gotzi, ooh, is he going to get dove there?
Yeah, he's gonna get dove initially. Let's see if he outplays it. I think he genuinely can. The Lamb's Respite is up, but it
Oh
won't be
dear.
needed because he
Oh
doesn't
dear.
have time to use it. Sim shows up, says thank you very much. The 2 kills are handed over to his AD carry. They got what they came for, but Gotzi got even more. Was now Deletus has free time to count the jungle.
Gotzi's fine with that one. You get a dove and you get 2 kills out of it. Yeah, sure. 2 kills now for an ADC. 3 in total on that Ezreal. That really did suck though for fourth wall cast as well. The price of fading that play isn't just feeding the enemy ADC, but he missed the opportunity to get that stack in the bot jungle, which he could have ran to after the dive. Just it was just poor. It was just poorly executed. It wasn't well thought through, and giving a little bit of life back over to Lazy.
Sim might look for something here. Does have the ultimate, so they have a level advantage overall. Both of their ultimates are up. He knows he's not on Vision. Still not on Vision as he then jumps into one with the Hex Flash. That's a bit unfortunate. He's in the area as well. And the
They
thing
don't
is, like
know
you
where
said,
cast is, right?
yeah, and Deletus just goes straight in, secures the stack you talked about earlier. Cast still at 1, just 9 minutes in. Maybe he had what I got to before. I'm not too sure. Maybe we can check that to see if he has gotten a second stack. And obviously that helps the silver lining of the earlier dive, but it hasn't been a completely successful early game. Only 1k the difference, so still anyone's game at this point. But good start for Lazy.
I'm so sad. I'm so sad that Sim didn't go for that one. There's no flash on Grave Pass. You could have like your timer to know that. And it was only level 5 from the rail. Like you're both level 6. You've got to go for that, surely. Alas, here we are, actionless. No blood being spilt in the bot side just yet.
Yeah, with
Instead.
MXC now getting that Metal Storm up, hitting the level 6, it just becomes that bit harder. So much CC now on the rail to deter any engage or disengage if it is Sim who feels like he needs to go. This top lane has been quiet, and here we just see a little bit of a skirmish. I do think Sleeping is fine, yeah, he's tanky. And this is why nothing happens in the top lane. Felio doesn't have enough damage, Sleeping doesn't have enough damage.
And that works for Ornn's favor, right?
no,
Ornn doesn't
not
need
again.
damage. This could be risky again, though. Delete is bombing it down from spawn. This could be a 3v3 pretty soon.
And the turret
here.
as well. Don't forget that in the fight as well. Good damage initially on Gutsy. I think when they see Deletus, they will call off the play, yes. So Deletus shows up early, and that allows Cast to get out. He wasn't spotted, so now they go for thinking they're in a 3v2 scenario. And Sim, as soon as he realizes there's a ball mission, good kick in, and now they're turning it around yet again. I can't tell who started this play, but it is Lazy who are winning it. Weird interaction there. As the Emperor's Divide finds nothing, and Ericsson gets nothing out of that TP.
That looked like it was Ericsson's flash because he kind of joyed across the screen, but it says he still has it up. But
I think he got condemned by Grave Pass at exactly the same
that would
time.
make sense as well. Yeah. So it was cast flash instead. Yes. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe they got
something's
confused
going
about
on
it as
here.
well.
Yeah. I think they might have something to say about that play. Wow,
That was
interesting stuff. That was a good play though. That was a good play by Lazy to kick Rel away from the Kindred, right? Because Kindred's trying to save people with his Lamb's Respite, and he's not been able to do so yet because he's just not found the opportunity.
Yeah, it's a back and forth game, and it's both of these teams are willing to look for opportunities. You can see it here. It was initially fourth wall looking for the opportunity. But Cast then saw Deletus. Deletus didn't see Cast. So Deletus then thought, now we got the opportunity. They then went in, and fourth wall said, yes, you don't know this is 3v3, we take it. But then they turned it around again. Good kick, as you say, away from the Kindred TP invested in to make it a 4v3. Even if we are at game 3 where the winner will be on match point, they're not afraid to make plays. They're not afraid to go for the dives, go for the outplay or whatever. And it's certainly delivering in terms of entertainment, but I have gotten no smarter on who is winning this game. Because, yes, it is Lazy with a lead, but it's definitely not our fourth wall's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still relatively equal as far as the grand scheme is concerned for this game. There's scaling elements on both teams, right? You know, you have a Vayne on one side and an Azir and an Ezreal on the other. Personally, I still think that the Lazy team comp is just that it's the range, man. I just think it's going to be, well, I guess more specifically the fourth wall team comp. It's just going to be a little bit too hard to play into Lazy as these games go on. But we haven't really seen. I mean, we're still in lane phase, right? So we haven't really seen the power of the go buttons from fourth wall. You know, the Ornn ulti, the Rel ulti, these kind of things. These things in as we start scrapping around objectives could be absolutely nullifying the range. Like, it doesn't matter if Azir and Ez have range advantage. If you get on top of them with an Ornn ulti, with a Row ulti, then yeah, it means absolutely nothing. So definitely still ways for Fourth Wall to win this game despite being 3 kills down.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game, interesting series. It's a peculiar one, I would say. Definitely one that delivers on all different kind of parameters. Stomps, we've had a stomp, we've gotten an incredibly close game, now we've gotten a bit of a chaos game, and I think this is something that the Fearless draft does help show, because, you know, the leaders can't just be sitting 3 games on the Viego who played in the first game, or the Maokai. You have to adapt, you have to play something different, and we're seeing the different strategies, and it's leading to these different game results, which is just so entertaining to watch as a viewer.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You don't really know what team's going to whip out in draft. I've got a Vayne, for goodness sake. It's a Vayne Ez bot lane. And it's great. None of this meta slaving stuff and just picking the same comps over and over. And it definitely opens up different strategies for what you think your team is good at and what they excel at. As Falio now. Did he get the
flash?
No, he didn't. Didn't
I
get the
don't
second
think
E.
he can commit. Yeah, he could try to get sleeping, but I don't think he has the damage. Yeah, wow. I mean, he disappeared quickly.
Yeah, I mean, look at his build. He's got a phage, but he's built a lot into damage here, right? For that.
And the response from Lazy will be this Drake, and they will get it for free. A couple players will go over to the side of Fade in the top lane, so he gets something there for the next 40 seconds. As a TP in from sleeping denies any plays over to Ericsson. So overall, it's a gold positive play, but a objective positive play for the side of Lazy.
I'm just trying to think, like, who does that benefit in the grand scheme of things? Because I actually think Fourth Wall are quite happy with that. It's Lazy, yeah, they want a pink as well.
I mean, they should expect Cast to be here. There's a stack on the bottom side of the jungle as well, and as soon as they see him, they back off, but now they still want to pull the trigger. Gutsy is the target, and they throw everything forward to try and get him as a TP comes through from Falio. Oh, he hit the ward accidentally! Gutsy, though, still falls, and Grave Pass now running. MXE is already dead, but it's 5 men there to greet him. Good night, bye-bye. 3 kills over into the hands of Lazy.
3 for 1 right there, perfectly played. Good response from the teleport from Falio. He saw that come in, Lazy read that play, and were able to join in on top of it. Ornn just pushing out for free in top, but I don't really think you care about Ornn getting resources. Oh, Fade's actually, he went in, he's gone in.
I mean, he just follows the ultimate.
It's just an ult, no? Yeah, for sure.
But that's a big cooldown, because when he has ultimate soon, that perfect execution will be up, and then it won't be there to save him. Yep. So Ericsson needs to have a bit more respect now for the next minute. But Ericsson does have good damage to try and poke out Fade to persuade any engage.
Yeah, now when we're looking at the scoreboard here, despite the fact that Lazy having a big advantage in kills, 5 of those are on the Lee Sin. He's not really a carry champion. It's not something that you want to put all your kills onto. And that, Fourth will be happy to see that when they press tab and see the scoreboard. But a lot of pressure on Lee Sin now then to actually use those kills to come up with more carry strats and all that lovely stuff. So far got in that Gore Drinker and Lucidity boots. I think it's a bit of a whiff there for Lazy, unfortunately. Not really their fault, so they didn't plan it to be this way, but 5 kills onto the Lee Sin, not ideal. Not ideal.
Well, it's very nice at this instant, right? Because you're very fit at the moment. In the short term, it feels good, but it would have been way better in the longer term, or to have the kills on the Ezreal, or have them on the Azir, right? Those 5 kills could have changed a lot there. Almost given probably half an item over to Ericsson, but instead, the gold is sitting on the leaders, who will continue to try and push this game forward and move it even further into the advantage of Lazy in life. Still back and forth game. Herald has been picked up by Cast. We'll look to see where he places it to try and open up the map.
Ericsson just happy to put down his turret in the bot side and keep this pushing here. Fade with 3 kills. Still not that easy just to get on top of Ericsson. We'll need a little bit more in terms of crowd control to make it happen. You can see the range of Azir really working in his benefit. Still able, despite this kill difference, to poke out Akali and to make Akali's life quite difficult. But you know, that's easily remedied by just an Ornn ulti or something like that to push Azir away. Fallion now could be in trouble. Grave Pass is here. Does he have the condemn here? Yes, he does.
Oh yeah, he's double CC'd, and now he will just be shredded through. Good damage. Maybe he can get the kill. I think he will. Felio. Oh, it was so close to have the full combo, man. That does feel bad, and Grave Pass, he's happy with that outcome. Survives, gets the kill, and he's out safely.
Very close there, though. Very, very close. Grey Pass almost falls. One more auto would have done it. Kind of close to be the one setting up that play just by herself. It's a bit odd for the ADC to be the one roaming around and making plays, to be honest. But he does it, and he makes it work this time around. And that is now 3 kills for both the carries on the side of Fourth Wall. So whereas we were saying, like, all the kills going over to Lee Sin is not ideal for Lazy, when 100% of your kills are on your mid and ADC, Fourth Wall.
That's nice.
I think they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, that feels really, really good. If we can, I would like to see how many stacks Cast have. I don't think it could be more than 1 or 2. He only still has that 1. And the thing is, that Grump has annoyed him so much because it spawned there now. It's the 3rd time in a row it is spawning on the Grump. He hasn't been able to get it any of the times. So maybe this one is the charm, and he's kept the stack on Cast throughout the entire game. The kill stack. And as you can see, Deletus hasn't died, so Cast unable to claim any of those stack kills.
It does make Kindred so much harder to play when you have such low range, but especially into this team comp. I mean, I don't want to keep harping on about it, but Lazy just have such good answers for low range people. You know, like Ez, Azir, how do you walk up to them? You can't. It's very difficult here. Is Cast looking for the inside track here? Isn't going to be able to get the crab or go for that Gromp either. Dragon is spawning in 4 seconds though, so getting control of this river still very valuable right now. Valio pushing in that top side, getting ready with that teleport.
Now he's sacrificing the stacks now for the team's better good, right? Getting the inner track on the Drake, putting down the Herald, delaying the opponents to get in there, forcing them to respond to that to secure this neutral objective and get themselves the 2nd Drake of the game. So it's an investment in that sense. The lead is unable to get in here, as he will find it tricky. Meeting up with MXE, 5-man strong, means that Falio has been able to take a top lane tier 1, will look for the tier 2 as well. Mid lane tier 1 might fall here, so they're definitely paying the price for this Drake.
I think this works for Lazy, definitely, especially if Falio gets that tier 2. Here comes the engage.
I want to fight though.
Good hurt.
Nice stop from Sim. That is very nicely played. They still want to go forward though, but now missing that main engage, it is Lazy who tried to pull the trigger. TP in from the top lane of Lazy. Felio in the front line, sleeping, being cut down very quickly. Same for Felio though. Grave Pass does good damage. Fade TP'd in as well, but hasn't found a way to enter the fight as the disengages come through. The teams peel back, recall starting, and it ends with absolutely no one going down.
Lazy will probably be okay with that though, all things considered. Don't get the dragon, but you're able to break open the tier 1 from mid, which is a very valuable tower to remove from the map. And Falio also got a lot of push in onto that top side, a lot of wealth into his back pocket. Ericsson now, he's sneaking through the bush, but he's being stalked. Both Cast and Fade are coming.
Let's see if they can get the stack, because that would be that would be crucial, honestly, getting the stack. It comes. There you go. So they actually wait for the stack.
Time. Yeah.
Nicely done. Rampage, as you said earlier, Foxtrap. So far, all the kills are on the Riot members. Still happens to be the case. Fade rather, gets his 4th off the game.
Yeah, now we're looking at side lanes, right? And side lane lane assignments here. Since it's not really lane phase anymore, Akali is able to just get out of that mid lane and go into a side. And the only one she really doesn't want to see, I guess, is Renekton. Renekton, being that bruiser archetype, is usually a bit too much to handle for assassins. But outside of that, like, she just pushes in the side lane, and then she moves from the side into like grouping up with the team fight. Lazy don't have great answers for it. Obviously, the Azir should be able to hold, but it's quite easy to attack the Azir if he's the one going into the side. and your team will benefit. Like Fourth Wall's team will benefit. Like if you're missing your Akali, but the other team's missing their Azir in a 4v4 situation, that works out in your favor.
Control around the Baron Pit is certainly in the hands of Lazy. They've just cleared out the river completely. Control wards have been placed down as well. 2 item spikes now coming through for the main carries, and if you're wondering what the difference is, well, Fade has had some nice alone time in the side lane and 4 kills as well. That helps a lot. As you can see in the jungle as well, where the Deletus has had 5 kills. Yes, well, he's up in the item department. Cast should now be on 2 stacks if I am counting correctly.
Yes.
And it was yet again on the ground, which was this time taken by Ericsson. 4th time in a row, he misses the jungle stack. I don't know if Cast isn't prioritizing them, what his calls are, but he's still 2 stacks away from, I think it is 75 extra range. And you've explained it multiple times, Foxdrop, how crucial that extra range is in such a game like this.
Absolutely. Even not in a game like this, it's crucial, but especially in a game like this, you know, it is. It's just, I mean, if you play Kindred, it's just night and day, right? It's night and day between having, you know, being like Graves range and being more like an actual ADC auto attack range. When all this stuff is flying around and so much CC coming through and just almost like accidental damage coming your way with things like, you know, Ezreal's skill shots and whatnot. Yeah, it's so difficult to weed your way around that if you have such low range. We're now at 22-minute mark, however, pretty close in the kill department, but Lazy with that 3,000 gold lead. It's a little bit deceptive, as we have touched on, because Deletus has a lot of that gold and those kills. This gold lead, as far as all things are actually concerned, as far as the teams stack up against each other, it's not a massive deal. You don't really care if it's the Fed Lee Sin that you're going up against, to be honest. And we now got 40 seconds until this dragon. This is the part of the game where the Lee Sin should be at his strongest and have the most impact. But to be honest, it's still going to be difficult to navigate and execute that. This dragon fight will paint a picture as to how much Deletus can do.
It certainly is, and one thing that we haven't really mentioned so far is the fact that Sleeping on the Zone has the ornaments as well, right? Upgrades available for his team. Gives in one to himself as he hit that level 13, and now giving one over to Grave Pass as well, so that's some invisible gold there as well. The items just become more gold efficient and that bit stronger. It is, though, around this soul point, the river control is in the hands of Lazy Life.
And the one starting up the dragon cast, though, is going to hop in, do a little bit of damage. Uh-oh, here comes the engage.
Oh, such a good engage as well. They find 2. They absolutely delete Godsey, who has no chance of survival in the backline, though. Grave Pass gets engaged upon, but he survives for now and kites around in the final hour. They want to go further ahead and get more kills. They will claim an additional 1. The leaders didn't fall, sadly, for Cast, but they will take the Drake. Soul point will be there as Ericsson tries to get something back, but he's zoned away by 2 members of Fourth Wall.
That's a 3-for-0, very clean 3-for-0 for Fourth Wall, and will be the 3rd dragon, putting them on soul point. Despite all the chatter we've been going on, mostly me, about the range difference in these team comps and how difficult it can be to execute those team fights. Did say, you know, with the hard engage of the Ram ultimate, the rail coming through as well, like, yeah, you can get on them and you can blow them up, and Gotsey just instantly got popped in that fight. Wasn't able to do anything. And again, Deletus, he's got 5 kills on the Lee Sin, and this isn't a criticism of him. It just doesn't do it with Lee Sin, right? It doesn't mean too much. He went golden and then he flashed away. That's pretty much his entire contribution to that team fight.
And they want more here, but Faye doesn't have the perfect execution yet, so they back off when they see the TP. And TP in themselves, or maybe they want something now that the perfect execution is up.
Ooh, the Vayne flank.
Cards. I should say, the Vayne flank, I'm not expecting this to work, but if it does, I would be very surprised. Ornhorn not available quite yet, that's why we haven't seen it. Metal Storm is available for the re-engage. MXC, though, is low, so if he goes in, it will likely mean his fate has been sealed and he will fall, but could be worth going down for the team in the end. No one dies. A couple ultimates popped, but no real action has been taken here. Instead, though, they back off to their respective lanes, and Grave Pass will take down the tier 1 in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's got the inside track to mid lane. I agree with you. I don't think we had high expectations of a Vayne flank in that situation. Flashbacks of like 2017 Huni playing in NA with all those Lucian top
Oh,
flanks, which also didn't work out, to
yeah,
be
they did
honest.
not work at all. They did not
No.
work at all. Now, though, the
No.
Baron has been started up by fourth wall, and maybe they can find a play that does work, but the lead is too far away from the pit, and it's just
Wow.
gone.
That's
It's
bad.
taken down quickly. Do they want the fight on top of it? They might, as Felio is low and doesn't have the dominance. Good engage with the Metal Storm. That secures the perfect execution onto 3, and that's the Vayne flank that works. They find them all. They will get the ace. Ericsson tries to flee, but I doubt there's a way out. What a fight for fourth wall. Could become a clean ace, and it will, as Ericsson falls here, and they tumble down the mid lane to secure a couple more turrets.
That's the second team fight in a row that fourth wall have not only won, but they won without losing a member, and they secured a key objective afterwards. Fourth wall are very much so in the driver's seat of this game, and really does come down to the execution of the engage from this team. Big props to MXC and Sleeping. They've been able to catch the carries from Lazy and get them out of position, and for the rest of the team to just jump in. It's so difficult, to catch these style of champions that are long range, that have gap closers, that have teammates to protect them as well. But then they're making it happen, and this is why they are now 15-9 in the kills. Despite they were down 3k gold, I think it was. They're now up 5,000 gold. They're really making it happen.
Yeah, and he hasn't picked up anyone here. He's actually the one being picked up instead. 4 members of fourth wall have arrived, and there goes one. Oh my god, that's disgusting. As Felio really has no answer to this. Gutsy will look fancy in the process, but falls as well. 10-0-3 is Fate with that triple kill in his back pocket. This game is all but secured. Ericsson will fall as well. That's another clean ace. As Grave Pass does not die. Lifesteal to stay alive. This game is done.
Wow. It is, and it's kind of come out of the blue, hasn't it, Darkling? At least
Yeah,
for
it
me,
has.
a tad. It was it started with that dragon play around bot side. Well, as dragon tends to be. That was 6 minutes ago or something, and then since then, it's all gone into fourth wall's favor. Almost at a 10,000 gold difference now as well. Very, very dominant here. As soon as fourth wall decided they wanted to win, they just turned it on, and they're barring down the top side here, looking to take the lead in this series.
Yeah, those 2 item spikes really hit strong around that second or third Drake fight, yeah. As it is just about 5 minutes ago, they really took the lead in the game. It is crazy to think about, as they are now making a desperate play that will not lead to anything well. This is going horribly wrong. Gutsy might be assassinated here by Fade, who does not go down. This is just a game instead. They wanted to recall, but now they're gonna go for the end. There's a flash on MXE. He can just flash engage. There we see it, on towards Ericsson. He has no counterplay. The stopwatch will be nice, but only to buy time. That's a couple seconds
Can
more.
he get to the fountain?
Yeah, he can.
He did it.
But the base, the Nexus, won't be running anywhere. It's going down here for fourth wall, who will move up to match point. And all ounces of momentum are in their pocket.
That's got to be a bit of a backbreaker for Lazy, to be honest. It's one thing to just get stomped like in the previous game and just be like, okay, it was a bad game, we move on. It's another thing to be winning a game, to have things go your way and to honestly look pretty good, and still just... I mean, that still was a stomp at the end, wasn't it? Right? It was 20 minutes of not being a stomp, and then 5 minutes of just bam, the game's over. That's just got to be so demoralizing here. And now you're asking yourself a lot of questions about how you come back into the series, and especially what you do in this next draft.
It's just such a rough game, man. It's a really, really, as you say, I think backbreaker is the perfect word to describe the situation I think they find themselves in. They had the good early game, they had the lead, the kills didn't go on the right targets though, and just a couple of team fights as the 2 item spikes were being hit, but boom, the game is over, right? That's rough. That's really, really rough, and I think for fourth wall, they are looking very happy, and they might be thinking to themselves, they should have won that game 1 as well. This should have been the series over, actually 3-0, so they're feeling really confident going into game 4. I'm starting to doubt my game 5 predictions, but maybe, just maybe Lazy Life can do anything, but we won't know until we come back from this break and head into draft. See you after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to potentially the final game of this best of 5 here. Lazy and Live are down 1-2 despite winning game number 1. Fourth Wall showed resilience, came back and took game number 2 and game number 3 in different fashions, but both convincing victories in the end. Lazy and Live now have to do something here to bring us to game 5. Otherwise, their series, their tournament in this NLC Aurora Cup is simply over.
We've got, and it looks like Lazy are taking the blue side this time around, which, if I'm not mistaken,
that's the first time this series.
I think it is the first time, yes. Yeah, and we're off to a pretty similar start here. I imagine another Jarvan ban will be coming through from Lazy, not wanting to give Cast some of his best champions, of course. Desire, I still think that's a bit of an interesting one since Rakan is gone, right? You can see at the top above us here, we can see the champions that have already been picked so far. And as a reminder for Fearless Draft, you cannot pick the same champions more than once. So having to mix things up and reach deep here into our pockets of champions. Now we're in game number 4.
What I think though, with this Israel with the Israel being banned rather instead of the Jarvan, I suspect that the reason they're on blue side now is for Lazy and Live to just take away the Jarvan first pick because we'll delete it if he wants to play it. I think there might be a lot of the thought process behind it, and now Fourth Wall might be contemplating, should they ban it? No, they go for the Jace instead, something they themselves cannot pick, but it seems like they rate very highly.
That would make a lot of sense, honestly. It's a great call. There it is, the Jarvan first pick. Exactly as you said. Not being on blue side means that you don't have to ban it. And because we're quite deep into this Fearless Draft series, you can't really handshake this necessarily with some other power picks. Like sometimes teams here might go like Zyra Khan, for example, maybe sat down an Oriana, these kind of things. Those champions, you can't play them. You've already played them. So the response is going to be relatively mediocre compared to the power of this Jarvan first pick. And it will be an Aphelios coming through for Grave Pass, who has had some good games, actually. Some pretty good games here, despite a bit of a murmur in game number 1, has been slightly louder in 2 and 3. And yeah, Aphelios, who are we going to pair it up with is the question. It is the Belveth for Cast.
Something he has played quite a bit throughout the season, but definitely, I should say, not the strongest up against the Jarvan in terms of the power that it brings. Just Jarvan so strong in this meta. He's crucial to get if you can. So obviously first picked away now, though, the AD carry answer. Saya, obviously they themselves banned and Varys in Israel removed. They now take advantage of the Oriana, knowing that Fourth Wall couldn't pick it up. They are happy to take that 2 very strong power picks in this meta. And so far the draft has gone in that direction. The misfortune as AD carry. See, this is something we would never see without this being a Fearless Draft. I
mean, but what a combo is that already from Lazy. Jarvan ulti, Oriana ulti, Misfortune ulti. Like, that is AoE dream right there for Lazy. That's going to be tough here for Fourth Wall to deal with, considering their ADC already is very immobile, doesn't have, lacks, well, any kind of mobility skills. So that can be kind of tough here. And I think it's a good response from Fourth Wall to lock in that Nico, try and bring the fight towards the enemies, and maybe also just a little bit of peel coming through against the Jarvan, who will set up all of these AoE ultis for Lazy.
Yeah, the Nico obviously couldn't be taken by the side of Lazy in Life as they had picked it in game number 2. Had a good start, but did fall off very quickly in terms of the team fights. Thresh now being banned. Olaf, we've seen that banned a couple times throughout the series, if I do recall correctly. Fourth Wall continuing to remove that away from Faleo's availability. The Thresh ban though, first time in this series, and we can really see this draft is just developing game from game with the Fearless mode, and it's really enjoyable to see as you never quite know what is next, as so many tools are limited by the teams. One thing that interests me though, and I do really want to mention this, I just realized the Kai'Sa couldn't be taken up by Grave Past. Obviously they go for the Aphelios, but Gutsy just not play the Kai'Sa. Didn't pick it in game number 3 when he had the option, and hasn't done so in game number 5, despite being a very meta AD carry.
He was hovering it. He was thinking about it, though. I do like the Misfortune here, right, with the combo. It wouldn't have been bad to pick up Kai'Sa at all, and it's a fair point you're making, especially considering if Lazy lose this, that's it for the series. Yeah, but just going to go for that Misfortune instead, and I think with this matchup with an Aphelios, something that you can kind of get away with a bit more. As we'll see here now, as fourth wall deciding, are they going to counter pick? I would imagine counter pick top side and lock in a support here, which would mean, of course, they're going to do the absolute opposite potentially. I think you want to go for something more protective as your support, though. You do want to make sure you've got a good matchup down there in bot side so that this Aphelios can be protected and keep going. And as a result, Sleeping's going to pick up his Aatrox, which has been banned from him before. But it is blind. He doesn't know who he's playing against just yet.
And looking at Sleeping's champion pool before the series, there was something like the Gnar, the Ornn, and then the Aatrox came as the third most played champ. Just double checked, it is still the third most played champ. But something that worked out well for Lazy Life in game number 1 was the split push. The Jax, though, obviously off the table now. We discussed it saying, yes, the Jax might be off, but there's still other champions that can execute the side lane priority and the split pushing. Fiora being one of those champions.
Yes.
So that is now locked in. It is very good to me that Lazy Life are throwing everything down here, because this is their final game. They want to go back to what succeeded in the first game, where they had some team fighting tools with some good ultimates for that, but also had the opportunity to play for side lane with Thelio.
Absolutely.
Oh, the wombo combo, man. The Amumu has been locked in.
Yeah, Curse Aside Bullet Time. You remember that from like season 2 or 3 or whatever
This
it
is
was?
this is like the old school League of Legends wombo combo. Potato monster top 5 plays, where the team fights were happening, and it was clearly just this combo being played over and over again. Ooh. This is old school League of Legends, man. Had Fiora not been updated, this would have been the most OG draft I had seen in ages. I mean, Fiora has been reworked many years ago now.
Yeah.
But I still remember the old Fiora.
Of course.
I might be a young fella, Foxtrot, but I have been playing League since season 3.
Yeah. It's new stuff with the vitals and stuff going on now, but still, this is, I mean, just how easy is it for Lazy to execute this, right? Jarvan presses R, Aurora presses R.
It is definitely just a press R comp.
Yeah, it's great stuff. I love that team comp there from Lazy, and the question really becomes from fourth wall. Firstly, how do we avoid team fights, right? We want to play more into a split push, so I'm not surprised you got like a strong skirmishing jungler there for cast who can match up with someone like the Aatrox to try and force things into like a side lane situation. And aside from avoiding team fights, what's the pill like if we get into that situation where it looks like Lazy is going to go for an engage? How do we avoid that from happening? And yeah, you've got Nico E, which is decent. Does Tahm Kench count nowadays? I don't really think so. It's just going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult one, honestly. I mean, the thing is here, though, I liked Lazy's draft in Game 3, and it didn't work out for them, right? I like their draft in this game as well. And it's that mental fortitude going into a game thinking you have a good draft, a good team comp, something, a clear game plan, and knowing that you had that before and you still lost, right? So you want to come into this game, it's a fresh game, fresh slate, see if you can make it happen.
I mean, the composition they had just made me smile, man. It's like season 5 with the teams before they had team built and all this. The ranked 5v5 teams. This was something like me and my silver friends at that point would just pick because, it's so broken in team fights, it cannot lose.
You can't even mark it up either. That's the best thing about it, right? Like, it's almost impossible for you to mark up that team comp.
And I mean, the thing is, there are so many engaged areas. You're not just looking at Jarvan. Well, Amumu could look for the flank as well. Or maybe just a good shockwave starts it off. I mean, there are so many opportunities to kick off a fight. And then they have spiced it up as well by not saying, we're just going to go for something like the Ornn. Malphite had been banned away. No, they took the Fiora and say, we still want to keep another win condition up in the case that they somehow manage to avoid us. I will say, I really do like the Tahm Kench pick. It is crucial if they want to have some hope, because then they can save one carry at the very least, and just maybe something can happen on the end of the fight when all the big cooldowns are blown. It's a good pick, but it's not going to win your team fight single-handedly, because there's no way you're winning a team fight if they get the wombo combo.
Yeah, it's more damage control than anything else, right? And Tahm Kench's support is not that popular anymore. Like, as a top laner, he's been pretty strong and he's had his uses, but this is definitely some old school tech before, pre-rework stuff for Tahm Kench, pairing him with these low mobility characters. It's why, very smartly in my opinion, Lazy banned Thresh, right? Because he does a similar thing with his Lantern, except he's just a bit of a better character overall. So I just love it. I love what Lazy's doing here. Just Amumu, Jarvan, Misfortune, just slamming that all down. It is literally impossible to counterplay that if they get the wombo combo off. fourth wall's question absolutely is, okay, how do we avoid team fights? How do we avoid these grouped up skirmishes and instead look for like 2v2s, 3v3s at most, and try and use the Belveth to facilitate those.
And I said very clearly I was pessimistic about a game 5, even though I did predict a game 5 initially. After the way game 2 and 3 had gone, I wanted to see something new from Lazy in life. And obviously, we're just 50 seconds into the game. They can still lose a game despite having a one-ball combo. I've done that in ranked teams as well when we had the one-ball combo. It can be beaten, but I am way more optimistic now because I really do like what they have going on here. They've gone back to some of the split pushing style they had success on in game 1, but they also have the teamfight tools. And we saw in game 1, when they have good teamfight tools, they can still play teamfights.
Yes, and it's very well pointed out, especially like the Fiora matchup too. It's very similar to how Renekton Jax plays out. Is Aatrox and Fiora. It is early focused into sleeping here, into the Aatrox as it was for the Renekton. But as we go on, as we get scaling coming through, it does start turning into a Fiora-dominated lane, or as it was in Game 1, a Jax-dominated lane. And Falio was able to get a lot of pressure out of that. He even got ganked once and turned it into a 2v... He got himself a kill, right? A 2v1. He just won. So, yeah, definitely something to bear in mind. Definitely a smart option. Kind of more of a draft that we saw out of Game 1 for Lazy, and that was their only win so far in the series.
Whew, the early poke as well from Lazy in the lane. Off to a good start, Gutsy. Gets some good damage down with the double up Qs or whatever they are called. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure.
I think Q is double up, isn't it?
I think it's double up, and then the passive is love tap. I was confused a bit.
Yes, and then she's got a strut. And
the strut. That's moving from the W, right? And bullet time. Yeah. I mean, that's good. Impressive for a color cast.
I don't know how I know that. I don't play Misfortune.
I mean, it's an old champ. Maybe you've just heard it so many times.
Honestly, straight up. That's got it. Old champ and I'm an old guy, so.
Yeah, I mean, your YouTube videos, you've done YouTube for many, many years.
Oh, mate, over 10 years. Over 10 years.
Yeah, I remember your old school jungle guides and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was your brother, right, who made the 80 carry
videos? Yeah. That was him too.
Yeah. I mean, my friend used that a lot. We do it a lot back in the day when we were young. And we got to like Diamond at 14 years old. And we really took it seriously. And we watched a lot of your brother's videos for updates on the meta and the bot lane.
I take full credit for that because I got him into
Yeah, you can take full credit of that. You can take full credit of that.
Excellent. So by proxy, I'm basically a god gamer, is what you're saying. Definitely not directly though.
I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but yeah. Your videos were good too. I'll give you that. I did enjoy them. Regardless, though, as the game develops, not much happening in the early phase. I do want to see what Cast is doing because his clear has been way slower. Has he just he stole away the red? Oh, he's 3. What has he done here? Is he just clearing slower? What's gone wrong?
I believe he's been trying to counter Jarvan. Jarvan's just farming and not actually making any plays. So, yeah, it's kind of bad. His Cast might go for the flash W. Right. Wow. Okay. Well, you did go for the flash W, but
I mean that hurts to see genuinely because why would you go for that?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you have the flash W, and had there been any follow-up available, it would have been nice. But you didn't have an initial Q to close the gap, so you would have only had one Q, maybe been able to get 1-2 autos off. And all the abilities had just been used by your bot lane. They had no tools to do something there.
Mm-hmm. And look what Jarvan's done as well in a response, right? Like, Belveth is the one that has a superior clear to Jarvan. Jarvan's no slouch either, to be honest. It's one of the reasons why, if the meta permits him and he's not over nerfed, he will always be a good jungler, solo queue and competitive. But yeah, Belveth it's one of her unique strengths is being able to power farm really. And this is not it. This is not what we want to see from this. And great start here for Deletus.
It's a good start, and I think, as we talked about, he needed to step up. He had a good game number 3, but the problem was he was a descent, so it was inevitable that he would fall off at some point in the game, right? And he was unfortunate to get all 5 of those kills, despite them feeling good at the short term, long term. It just wasn't sustainable as all the kills went on to the right targets of their opponents. First trick is up, and they are instantly going for it as well. using the prior in the lane to take it down. Cast can't really contest this. He's still on his first clear, essentially, as he recalled after the play bot lane, and now he's on his bot side camps. Wait, do they want to fight this, actually?
Ooh, they're thinking about it.
I mean, Fade is here, level 6. Pop Blossom available. The leaders could be taken down. No. Not able to get out, actually. Flash in the end gets him out to safety. That's very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? That just seemed like a very cut and dry, easy peasy play for Lazy. But yeah, Fourth will just decide, actually, no, we're not going to let you guys get that for free. And it's a really, really nice contest at the end of the day. I think, honestly, the root cause of that is that Ericsson wasn't there, right? He recalled. He doesn't have teleport. He went for the reset, but Fade was still on the map, was still around. And that's purely from a numbers perspective. Was enough to push Lazy away. Obviously, that Pop Blossom being crazy for a small dragon fight like that too. Just yeah, really nicely done there from Fourth Wall to secure that dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, they didn't invest much. A Pop Blossom and an Ignite. They got the Drake, they got a Flash out of Jarvan, who definitely can use the Flash. Despite being a mobile champ, that Flash really allows you to basically guarantee the EQ knock up. So, big cooldown burn as well from him. I mean, they're just over the moon with that one. That's a great play. I do want to do a little bit of a quick update in the top lane. Even so far, both have hit level 6. They have been trading back and forth. I have noticed that, but no one is dying, and I think that's been the general trend of this top lane all series. Even in the first game, the action didn't happen in the laning phase. It was when people tried to interfere with the lanes the kill really started happening. If they just left to a 1v1, I mean, it's just going pretty even.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. It's been very evenly matched here, topside Falio versus Sleeping. It's not one of these matchups where huge advantages are being gained straight from the 1v1s. Despite, counter picks being thrown out left, right, and center. Honestly, both of these players have had the opportunity to counter pick, and still nothing major is happening. They're very evenly matched. And the difficulty, I think, in this matchup especially, is that Aatrox does have the advantage early, but it's very difficult for him to actually kill Fiora, because a lot of his setup for kills and big damage abilities are very easy to riposte, right? Essentially the Qs, like that first Q, that's kind of tough to counter, but once you get into the Q2 and Q3 especially, if Fiora saves the riposte for that, not only do you block a huge amount of damage from Aatrox, but you'll stun him down as well. So Aatrox has to be aware of that, and Sleeping certainly is, and has to be a lot more capricious with how he decides to use his Qs.
Yeah, let's see what happens here, though. Pop Blossom is available. Flash as well. Those Tangle Bobs did not connect, so no further follow-up initially. Sleeping on the flank, but he's now about to be flanked. No, Felio hasn't spotted him. He is actually on a good flank here. Now, though, he will be seen and locked up. Yeah, he's just dead. I don't think there's any way out. Flash and First Blood will be secured. He tried to do something, but no. That wasn't an opportunity.
No, he went for the flank there. Still, at this point in the game, an Aatrox definitely quite strong, and Fourth will want to leverage their skirmishing team comp. I do think in a pure, small fight with fewer numbers, that Fourth would come out on top, but just instantly deleted the Aatrox there. It's not happening, and first blood over to Lazy.
Yeah, they're very happy with that. Getting the kill onto Jarvan is nice enough as well. Jarvan is someone who can definitely remain useful as the game progresses as well. The Herald has been started up. They actually stopped the Scuttle so they can send more members up there and just secure it that bit faster. It has become a 1v1 down in the bot lane as well. I mean, let's see what happens here, though. I mean, he does have the Devour as well. Ooh. Oh, that's such a great Devour, and straight into the waiting hands of Fate.
Wow.
Oh, that's such a good ward and such a good punish from Formax.
It's so tough, isn't it? If you go for the EQ earlier on Deletus, then you can get stunned. Or if you hold on to it, you get eaten. Oh, that's tough, but a really nice pickup there for Fourth Wall. Getting the Herald as well. And that's not just any Herald, right? It's Belveth with Herald. She has that unique interaction with the Rift Herald and with Nash as well, where she can consume its soul to turn into mummy form for starters, but also it triples the duration of that ultimate of that ulti form, and also allows you to spawn little minions like the old ZZ Rot. So now we've got 3 minutes here of casts looking to be Super Saiyan mode, walk into lanes and really try and make something happen here.
I cannot believe you called it mummy form.
I mean, am I wrong, Duckling? Where's
I've
the
never
lie?
thought about it that way. I'm not gonna say if you're right or wrong. I just don't want to comment on it, to be honest with you. So we'll move on, as we'll wait to see what Cast will do with that Herald, and if he can spawn some Boilings to help take down a couple extra plates. Would be bad for him to be caught out here, but he's the one who goes forward, and now he's the one in trouble as well. Obviously has quite a few dashes, and that was just a couple pixels wide.
Yes, that might just be the end of this dragon play as well, though. No Orion Shockwave for Ericsson and for Lazy. Yeah, looks like fourth wall cast. Just going to be able to pick this one up. That is the second dragon going over to fourth wall. Very, very nicely done for these guys. Mountain and Infernal. What's it going to be for the Soul? Could be one of a few things here. It looks like it is Ocean. Yes, the Oceans bring life. Ocean, a very powerful Soul, of course, and will help out in those team fights, which is very beneficial for both of these teams.
Let's see what happens here, though, as Cast could have gone over the ward, but decided against it. Now goes towards the red buffer and towards the spot lane. The bullet time will clear out the wave. Obviously, Herald will tank the turret, but as you say, smart for now. Makes it harder to get that initial engage, buys time for someone like the leaders to rotate down. Herald, though, needs to be placed soon. It's almost running out. I think he has to place it now. As in right now.
I think he's looping
Oh,
back
that's
around
just a
to do
ward.
that.
No, I'm being baited. He manages to place it down.
It's the I do think that is a bit of a I think that's the cooldown on like his sweeper or something. I don't know.
Oh man, that is
weird.
so stupid.
Yeah, it is definitely some kind of visual bug or something. I mean, I've had it in solo queue as well. I'm not quite sure, but either way, doesn't matter. He got the Herald down. They got some plates there in bot side. That's all sorted. He's still in this empowered form though for, it's I think another minute and a half around that.
Wow,
at this point.
that's such a long time.
Yeah, I mean it's usually just 60 seconds, but if you get it on Baron or on Herald, it goes up to triple that, like I say. And anytime you can extend it to, you don't lose the empowered form, even though you've gone past the 3 minutes. If you kept getting kills and kept picking up ulti stacks, you could keep up that empowered form forever in theory.
And game very even so far. 2 early decks to fourth wall. They're happy with that. Top lane still even despite that one kill going over. It hasn't changed anything in terms of looking for solo kills. No one will dare to do that in the top lane. First item slowly but surely being hit across the map. And yeah, so far it is very clear that it's a teamfight comp for Lacing Life compared to game 1 because they are not setting the tempo. They are fine waiting for the moves to fourth wall, and I guess they're just waiting for those items. So they're 100% sure when they go for the wombo combo, they will have enough damage to just win the fight straight off that.
Teamfight's obviously clearly favouring fourth wall. Not fourth wall, Lazy with the just the combo that comes through. It's absolutely insane stuff. It's going to be very hard to avoid that if you are fourth wall. But really, that's essentially just what you got to do. It doesn't matter how hard or how easy it is. You still just got to find a way to make it happen. And I do think a lot of it comes down to Cast on the Belveth, choosing to attack side lanes. Not looking to group up. Instead not going for these plays that might encourage Lazy to join with 4 or 5 people, and instead pick something out like towards the side lane. But here we go. We've got a ganking bomb.
MXC though, pretty tanky now. Sim gets to turn around on him. Still has the curse of the sad mummy. Doesn't need to use it. That's 2 TPs invested though. I feel like they need to get more here. The bullet time has already been used in the initial wombo combo engage that didn't really become a wombo combo engage because 2 ultis were held back.
Yeah.
Very big investment to secure the kill and make sure botlane didn't die. I guess they just didn't want to fall behind, but they're losing stuff in the top lane as we speak.
I think that is the biggest loss here for fourth wall is what Falio is able to do on that Fiora uncontested.
I think he just gets the turret, right?
Yeah, he's going to get 2 waves at least, probably more when all's said and done. And he is attacking the tower, and he's got a Sheen item, right? So that's even more damage onto a tower. Didn't really achieve too much for sleeping on that Aatrox with a TP. So yeah, I think when all said and done, that's not too bad for Lazy and for Fiora specifically.
I will say though,
He gets it.
the positive is for fourth wall. The plates, they were gone as soon as Value started hitting the turret. So it is just the turret gold and the waves. Obviously, it's still a lot of gold, but it could have been a lot more if those plates would have been on.
Could have been worse, but as you say,
Still bad though.
Still not ideal. But it's something.
Herald though, that's something fourth wall would like to get, and they are investing into it. No immediate response despite Sim being here. The wombo combo isn't quite available. Gutsy still has a couple more seconds on it. Fatey's a good engage. Goes for it, knocked up, those only hits one. Good curse of the Sad Mummy. Everything goes a bit wide. The combo isn't quite in unison. Here comes the bullet time. There's still no Jarvan ultimate. He tries to get it, but he gets rooted up by the Tangle Bobs. 2 members gone now from Lazy and Life, and somehow they lost a team fight.
The execution of that team fight was just not it for Lazy. That was so disjointed right there. Firstly, it's the Jarvan that gets caught out of position, so he has to EQ away, not into fourth wall, but to run away from them. That's the first part of the combo just completely butchered right there. Curse of the Sad Mummy as well. Amuru jumped in as he saw Jarvan getting engaged, and it was completely disjointed. So the Amuru ulti essentially did nothing. Instead of layering all of their ultimates on top of each other and getting that combo, it all happened individually, and there was no combo. And as impossible as it is to lose team fights for Lazy, they found a way to do it, and it's one of the only ways you can mark this comp up, honestly, is if you press R at different times. So
They
not ideal.
do deny the soul point. That's really, really crucial. They are happy with that. It's a silver lining, but they will lose 3 turrets combined with the Herald charging in the top lane, then getting the turret here in the mid lane as well. So much gold, just straight cold hard cash going into the pocket of fourth wall. Now, Foxtrot, I don't know how much LCS you watched back in the day, but do you remember the team called Team 8?
Team 8?
Team 8, just straight up Team 8.
LCS? I'm not.
Yeah, from LCS.
Who played on?
I'm
Team
talking
8?
2015, and
Yeah.
I think it was they had the Nintendo X jungler.
Yeah, Nintendo. I remember Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo. And I remember them promoting. I think it was season 4, and they had like a documentary made about their promotion charge or something like that
Right.
from Riot about how people play differently. They had some guy on a boat as well in Norway playing while he was out on fishing trips. That's a whole nother story. The thing is though. What I remember about Team 8, I think one of their only wins in LCS, it came from this sort of composition. I do believe they had the Malphite as well, but they did this when they couldn't get a win otherwise. They went for the wombo combo, they managed to get it in a couple team fights, and then they won the game. So my point with bringing this up is, even if you feel like you aren't really beating your opponent, I see why you go for this. And now you're behind, you can still get back in it because your team fights are so powerful that you can still get back in the game with this composition, this sort of team fight focus, if you get the correct fights.
Sim's in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, this isn't a correct fight. I want to say that very clearly. This is a very, very bad fight.
Oh dear.
I mean, no, the shockwave misses again. It's doomed. It's so doomed, man.
Yes, Cast is just having a very easy time right now running people down on this Belveth. You can't get the teamfight wombo combo if you're getting picked out of position individually here. Cast is just waiting for the recharges of the dashes. If you do hit your W, you do get a refresh, which is exactly what Cast was able to do.
That's another
there.
minute.
2 kills for him. Woof.
Has 3 minutes now on the Voidlings, I think they are called. The Voidlings, something like that.
As yeah, he can spawn them out even more because he took Herald, right, and then he got the refresher from Amumu, got another refresher from the Oriana there. So it's so much pressure coming down here from fourth wall. I liked the team comp from Lazy. I like the idea here for this team fighting wombo combo, but they completely mucked it up on the first team fight of the game. And now at this point, they're just getting caught out of position. They're not even getting the opportunity to execute onto this team fight. It's not all over. It's not all doomed.
It is not. It is not.
But
there is
it's
still
not
the
good.
wombo combo. There is still the dream.
Always the wombo combo.
Where we have to, whenever who edits like some highlight montage of this has to find the smash clip with wombo combo. That ain't Falco. Happy feet, man. Oh, that's incredible clip, incredible clip. And I mean, if that happens, they can still come back in the game. They are by no means out of it. They are not that far behind. But if this keeps happening, and a couple picks lead into a Baron, and a couple more picks leads into a Soul Point, and a couple more turrets, and all of a sudden the goal lead is 10, 11,000 gold, and then it is starting to become hard. Then the perfect team fight might not win you a team fight as it should. At this game state, though, the wombo combo dream still lives.
Does for now, as Cast has got an in onto Godsey.
I mean, yeah, this build is doing wonders, man.
It's been a really good pick right here, and being able to have so much pressure just from the jungler is great. That's 2 summoners down for Godsey.
Oh, they're going far ahead, though. Maybe this is it. It's on to 2, but the flashes and cooldowns are up, so they get out of the play.
Yeah.
Good devour from MXC, Flash Force from Grave Past.
It's just a little bit wonky, isn't it? Lazy have the right tools here to be able to make these sick wombo combos, these great plays, but they're just not quite all on the same page. Like Amumu didn't get in that situation. There was no Orianna either.
And now they're sitting, having to defend this Baron with only the Shockwave and the Curse of the Sad Mummy. And the Baron is dead before the leaders can even get into the pit. Yeah, MXC will keep him out for a couple seconds longer. Now they have to flee. Sleeping is on the flank. Slaps him down with the 3rd charge of the Darkened Blade. He will chase forward. That's a good Shockwave. That's a good Curse of the Sad Mummy. But there's no bullet time available. And you're just too far behind to turn the fight. It's so close, but it's just not quite enough.
Honestly, even a fraction of the wombo combo's power was close to bringing down 4th wall. You can see the potential of this team comp and what Lazy want to do. But as you mentioned, if there's no bullet time, there's no... That's actually a huge
had
part
the
of the
bullet
combo.
time
That's
been
the
there, they
damage
would've
part
won
of the
the fight.
combo, and it's just not there.
I mean, we could both see that, Foxtrot. Had the bullet time been there off cooldown, Kotsu was in the fight, or Kotsu was in the fight. Had he been able to use the bullet time, they would have won that fight cleanly.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, honestly. But at the same time, I do feel like Lazy have been the orchestrators of their own demise. It has been execution issues. These kind of team comps are not too difficult to play out, but unfortunately, I mean, to be fair, I will give more credit to 4th wall, because I do think Lazy mucked up on that Herald team fight. I think that was them playing poorly. But since then, I don't really think Lazy have had great opportunities to execute the wombo combo, right? I do just think 4th wall has played in such a way that has really denied Lazy the opportunity to wombo combo. And credit to 4th wall for bringing themselves into this position where they now have a significant lead in this game, and look to take the series.
And with the neutral objectives being down, it is so hard for them to force the team fight as well, because there's no easy way to do it. They're not going to be grouped around a Baron pit. They're not going to be grouped around an Elder, a Soul Point Drake, or whatever. Now you are playing around Falio, and yes, he is still in the game. I mean, he's not going to be ending the game. Sleeping is strong, so you can hold him off and stop him from pushing. And the question is, can Lazy's wombo combo part of the team do that against Cast, who just summons an incredible amount of Voidlings?
Still doing all of that. You know, he took Herald. I mean, he got it from Nash as well, didn't he? It's so hard to defend. It's so hard to defend. Lazy now have to make the executive decision here. They have to find 4th wall, split, and just hard engage, throw everything at them. Way easier said than done in the context of this game, but it's what they need to do right here. In my opinion, they just need to go bot and just hard engage onto ideally the Aphelios, but he's got Time Kench next to him, so again, more complicated. But you've just got to force this engage and try and make the wombo combo happen for the last time.
This might be, as you say, your last chance. You're standing in a somewhat segregated corridor where there isn't that much space to move. Grave Pass doesn't have Flash, doesn't have Cleanse. And the waves haven't been timed correctly, so they won't be crashing at the same time. Baron buff runs out. One shot away from getting the turret.
Mid auto attack from the cannon minion as well.
That's actually incredible. That's a bit of RNG with you, but the turret will die regardless.
They've got to go for it.
Oh, and there it goes. I mean, already investing the shockwave just on the support. They just can't get anything. They really cannot get a foothold in this game now.
I mean, they kind of broke the siege a little bit, which is good, but I think you've just got to go back to Fountain, get full HP, and try it again. You don't have Shockwave, but you still got everything else. Just keep trying.
A bit over eager to get the turret, but luckily you have a Temp Kench, so you're out for now. Able to survive, but in the end, MXE will pay the price. Grave Pass though doing good damage to Sim, who will fall as well. Sleeping TPs in, if I could say that correctly, and gets an assist for his troubles. Minions pushing in all around the Rift. 2 minutes until they have the chance to become a yet again Baron buff team, as well as have a little bit extra help from an Ocean Soul.
I have a question for you, Duckling.
Yeah.
If you're playing this game and you're in Lazy's shoes,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at the team comp from Fourth Wall, who do you think is the character that poses the least amount of threat to you? Who's the least scary if you ran into them in a dark alley at night?
From fourth wall,
Yes.
are you talking IRL?
No, this
I mean,
isn't a.
no, yeah, I mean, the way you're
like...
phrasing it, sounds like in
Okay.
a dark alley. I mean, there are no dark alleys here.
Okay.
Or maybe there are actually.
All
if
of them
you
are
think about
dark
the mission
for,
thing.
for Lazy at this point.
Yeah, it's true actually.
You know what? That's fine. That's fine. I accept that. Basically, what I was gonna say is, Tom Kench by himself, right, is not really someone that you feel like you need to bring down, right? If you've got a Filio shooting at you, or Belveth all up in your face, they're slightly more threatening than this big frog man, right?
You've got a good point, yeah. They are.
So you don't really want to be focusing him down. You don't want to be attacking him. He's tanky. You don't, it's difficult, but you have to. You just have to because without
you
that,
have
he just protects his team, right? He eats them, he gobbles them up, he keeps them safe, and he does do his part in denying the engage from Lazy. So to be honest, almost one of the best engages you can do is to engage onto Tom Kench, because then he can't gobble someone up and protect them when it's himself. He can't gobble himself. What happens there? A black hole opens up, an infinite loop of gobbling, and he just disappears from the rift. I don't know, but I don't think that works. So it's
You're cooking up some weird Tim Kench fan fiction there, regardless.
yeah,
of...
that's true. Honestly, that is true.
I
don't
very
want to
much
see
agree
that.
with you. I really do not either. Don't make that a fan fiction. The thing is, I think it's smart to try and pick off the Tem Kench if you can do it without investing anything.
Yeah.
If you can do it just with abilities, that's great. But you can see the damage from Ericsson. That's 2 combos now. 400 health, and he's now dead.
Oh,
Yeah, he will fall. No, that's actually a very, very good shield. But the thing is, had you been able to take him down without using any ultimates, you could then look for the wombo combo. But you can't. You use your ultimate, you still can't kill him, and then you can't go for the wombo combo. Now they're looking for something here. They have no shockwave, but they do have the possibility of a TP flank. This might be the final hooray. The bullet time is the big damage dealer. 2.5 items on Gutsy. Can he get the right positioning here? Sim is looking on the flank.
Fourth will have to
We'll say hi to
try and
NLC.
squeeze this one.
Yeah, they have to go for it, and I agree with them. But the problem is there's no shockwave. They used it to try and pick off the Tem Kench, and then they can flank themselves. Sleeping in the backline will stop the bullet time, will stop the wombo combo. A quadra kill for Sleeping. He will not be rewarded with the pentakill, but he will be rewarded with the series win. 3-1. And it could have been a 3-0 had Fourth Wall not lost that game one in such tight fashion. But they prove they are the better team. 2-3 rather, sub 30 minutes game. And they secure their place in the NLC Aurora Cup Finals.
We thought it was a wombo combo from Lazy that was going to be threatening this game. As it turns out, Fourth Wall's wombo in that team fight was all they needed. They didn't win the first game. It was a close one, but they did come up short. It doesn't matter. 3 straight wins for Fourth Wall, and they'll take the series.
And they're very happy with that one, moving on to the finals after not retaining their spot in the NLC Division 1. That's a consolation prize and a well-earned one. Not just one you get for participating. You earned your place in this final. Great series from them. I think they're bummed out that they didn't get the 3-0, to be honest with you, after that first game. But they were clearly the better team. They could have won the first game. They didn't, thanks to some good team fighting from Ericsson. But across the other 3 games, they were just better at adapting to the fearless draft. And despite what Lazy and Life tried to throw at them, this early game-oriented composition, the team fighting composition, whatever they're cooking up, I mean, they just didn't amount to anything. The counterplay was always better from the side of Fourth Wall.
Yeah, it was. I think Fourth Wall was just the better team. It was a bit of a skill gap at the end of the day, honestly, for this series. I liked what Lazy were trying to do, and obviously in that first game they were able to. It was a very scrappy game, back and forth, and they were able to pick up the win. But it just looked like, even when games were even, Fourth Wall looked confident and in control, and Lazy just didn't really have the answers for it. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, for them, that does mean that they're going to lose the series. And Fourth Wall probably looking like, them and Verdant looking like 2 of the more dominating teams we have here in the Aurora Cup.
Yeah. What kind of does bum me out is the fact that we didn't get to see the 5-game blind pick, man. I would have loved to see a blind pick. I've never casted a blind pick before.
No.
And I doubt you have either.
No, I have not. I've
It's
never done blind pick before, so that would have been a lot of fun, to be fair. But
that would have been incredible. Let me just take a look at the predictions. I've gotten some of it here that I can say. No one got perfect predictions today. Some people got 2, and that includes you, and that includes me. You got the score correct. I got the winner correct. We both got the first game correct. You predicted 3-1 to the side of Lazy. I predicted 3-2 in favor of Fourth Wall. Hip Brain got it pretty close as well. Same prediction as me, obviously. Smart guy and knows what to predict. Middle cut. His mistake was predicting that Fourth Wall would take that first game. And, I mean, no one really had that bad predictions except for Veteran, who completely...
he whiffed.
Yeah,
him and Initialize completely whiffed on this one today, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, Initialize also, yeah, that's an absolute horrible prediction, man. Horrible prediction, mate. I do feel bad for them because that just feels bad. I could have easily made those same predictions, but I'm just that 5 IQ higher, I guess, that I managed to flip the coin in the right direction to land on what I wanted to predict.
That's just, honestly, winning a coin flip is just a sign of superior intellect, clearly.
I mean, there is no better sign of intelligence than coin flipping for who you predict for. I did get some criticism from my last prediction. I don't think you got it too because you're Brit. But I was a Dane predicting a 3-0 for Ruddy Esports against Verton, who had 2 Danes on their roster. I did get a couple DMs. I did get someone who mentioned it on Twitter as well, saying, how could I predict against my own nation? And hopefully they will take me back when I vote for... I mean, I don't know who to vote for. There are actually Danes in both of the other semifinals, so... Maybe I have to go back to my coin flipping technique.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Dane diff at the end of the day, always. As we saw.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. That means a lot.
You can clip that and hold on to that. Keep that as a treasured quote. It's yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next matchups that we have here in the Aurora Cup. I think it's very hard to predict what's happening and what's going on. So as you can see, Lazy unfortunately being eliminated from tournament here, with Fourth Wall making it into the finals. Lazy falling into the semis, falling at the semis, I should say. But JL and Verdant here going to be our next matchup in 5 days' time. You know, Verdant looked exceptionally dominant against Ruddy. I do believe that's probably one of the most one-sided best of 5s that I've seen, at least. But so honestly, JL were, you know, natives were really good, and JL was really well.
3-0 natives.
Yeah.
3-0 natives. Do you know the roster that natives had? Chris Berg has been a established NLC AD carry. Rüller and Lundorf, back-to-back NLC Div 2 winners, who went on to play in the EPL, won the split in spring, almost made EMA Masters groups, then second place in summer finals. I don't think they got second actually in summer. I do think they had a bit of a bump in performance in summer. Yulbo as well, someone who's worked really hard behind the scene to up his level, has been in the Danish League for ages, and I do believe Chromax is like a coach. I think he coached the team actually. Or what's that? Let me just double check this. No, he's actually been playing support for a while. But he's also been playing in the EPL scene. That's a really strong team. And
they were 3-0'd.
They were 3-0'd by J-Links, who do have a good roster. I think Samson, he had a rough start to the Danish League veteran scene. He joined when we had the Telia thing, right? First game, he was on an underdog team. He got solo killed about 2 minutes in on his world famous Shen. So that wasn't a good start. But after that, I mean, the man's improvement is so good. He's worked really hard for the past couple of years, played in Italian second division. And I'm so happy to see him back in the NLC because he's just been improving. And I think he's a solid pickup for anyone because he can play the carries, but he's a rock solid top laner who will not just throw away the game. So yeah, a lot of praise to him. Bendix, old school player. He's played in Turkey. Back when Turkey was hyped to play in, this guy played in Turkey. Urban as well, someone around the same level as Yulbo, I'd say. Rusty Sniper. I mean, we both know Rusty Sniper. Yeah. He was one of the shining factors on his team in NLC in summer, despite them not performing that well. And Crow, I mean, I don't know how many teams this guy has played for by now. I think it must be 20, but every split, you see him on a different team, but he's always been a good support. Yeah,
it's going to be a good matchup into Verdant for sure, and I'm very excited to see how that one goes in just under a week's time. Yeah, I mean, and obviously the winner of that series will go on to face Fourth Wall, who won this series here today. I think it's just very difficult to to predict what's going to happen. Honestly, for this entire tournament, every single matchup just seems to be, you know, I don't know how else to say it apart from just impossible to predict. We just don't know what's going to happen. That makes it really interesting, really exciting, at least from my perspective. You throw in the Fearless Draft as well, and we've got some entertaining League of Legends here on NLC.
And I have just checked up on Jadings because I do know they played in the 3rd division of NLC earlier this year, right? They in summer they went undefeated for the whole split. Or I do not know if it was in the individual rounds as well, but they got 9-0 in their group, then 3-0 Verdant's Academy, Verdant Bloom, which also had a good roster, I remember, in the finals. So obviously this is, and they've kept the exact same roster instead of swapping it, but they have swapped in Rusty Sniper. So yeah, really, really strong team. I think they can go far, and I'm excited to see how they play up against Verdant. I do now have the information that we have an interview ready with the guy we've talked about to be rock solid in top lane as well, Prime League champion. It is Sleeping. Welcome to the show. I don't know if you're muted, but we cannot hear you.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
There you go. That's perfect.
There we go.
There's audio now. Thank you so much for joining us. Just to kick it off, Sleeping, I do want to talk to you about Game 1 because quite clearly the most intense game of the series. What do you think went wrong here? Why couldn't you deal with the split pushing of the Jacks?
I mean, obviously Jax outscales Renekton, right? And I think, I actually need to check what was the comms. That was a long time ago. Old man, brain can't remember. Give me a second. Let's see. Oh yeah.
I'd help you, but I also can't remember.
Yeah. Obviously, they had 2 winning side lanes, right? And when we forced Jack's Nash TP, we kind of hesitated on pulling the trigger in between the time it was down and when it came up, right? I think that was a very big thing, at least we concluded after the game. And I think another thing was, like, I don't remember which Drake this was, but Drake was like 1 second from spawning, and we chose to run mid wave instead of keeping position on Drake. And I think that fight kind of was our last straw because we ended up getting kind of outscaled in the end.
I think, you know, that first game was very back and forth and very entertaining to watch. Obviously, despite the fact that you lost, you probably would disagree with something like that. But the rest of the series was quite clean from you guys. I want to kind of take a zoom out a little bit and a step back and take a look at this Aurora Cup as a whole. One of the positions that's impressed me the most from all of the teams and different roles in the games is top lane. You know, I think that obviously yourself, you've performed really well and you have a bit of a name for yourself too. Someone like Nile is another one that stands out. I kind of want to get your opinion on what you think about other top laners in the Aurora Cup in this tournament. Is it as strong as I'm giving them credit for in NLC? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I'm not super sure. I think Nile is for sure good. He's been up there for a long time, or been around for a long time, almost as long as I have. I think pretty much since season 7 I can remember him being around, so he's definitely good. I think Falleo is good. Who else is there?
Who was
Samson.
Yeah.
Samson, oh yeah. Yeah, he was good. Yeah, you might be onto something. Yeah, I think top lane is probably one of the stronger roles around. I think mid lane, just because of Fade, is pretty good as well. Who was Verdant mid lane?
That's a good
That is
question.
Aurora, I do believe.
Errol, yeah, Errol.
Yeah.
I mean,
whatever you say
I'd be lying if I said I know him, but I'm sure he's good. He's on Verdant, right? Like, I would still say they're probably tournament favors, even though I know they're not screaming, but I'm sure they're.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. Sleeping, I want to talk to you about your role in the team, right? Because you're coming in with a roster with a lot of unknown factors. When I first looked at this, I instantly looked at your name thinking, I've seen this guy at EMA Masters. I've seen him perform well in the Prime League as well. So you're the veteran coming into this team, right? In that regard, with some of the more upcoming talents, what has your role outside of just playing top lane been for this team? Have you been mentoring some of the players in any way, or just being the leader of the team?
I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to say I'm the leader. I just try to kind of keep people calm when comms tend to go like really messy. You know, the kids get really excited when things go well. The old man got to keep them on the leash, right? But I think in terms of leading, it's mostly I think Fade is also a very good like voice of reason in the team, and I think MXC is overall like pulling the strings really well as well. So I would definitely give more credit to them. I'm rather than leading the game, I would say I'm just trying to keep them calm when, like I said, things get exciting and kind of aim to be voice of reason as well.
We've got coming up in about 5 days' time. I think the other semi-finals is Verdant versus Jailings. You've kind of sung Verdant's praise quite a lot here, so can I just get your prediction for who's going to win that and who you're going to face in the finals?
I mean, Jailings for sure is like it's surprising they're this far up because when we initially played them in the qualifier, right, I didn't think they would get this far to be honest. So I'm sure they're like practicing really hard, and on the counterpart, like I said, I don't think Verdant is scrimming at all. I think they just have like very solid foundation in the players, and it's working for them. So I could definitely see Jailings winning, but like heart says Verdant, but brain says Jailings. I think it's gonna be close, probably 5-game series.
Wow, first 5-game series.
Yeah.
That would be something.
That's really, really exciting to hear. That is about all the time we have today, Sleeping. Thank you so much for joining us. Great
Thank
interview,
you.
Hand. Great getting your predictions as well. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you in the final.
Yeah, see you then.
That was great, Foxtrot, getting a bit more information about the team. I liked your question about the prediction as well, and I mean, it would be very interesting if Verdant are not screaming. Doesn't initially strike me as an organization that doesn't scream, but maybe just because they think they have the players to go all the way. There's some agreement there. But interesting, especially to hear his words about Jailings, considering, as he said, they had played them in qualifications. They did beat Jailings. Oh no, they didn't beat them. Lazy actually beat Jailings in qualification initially 2-1. So yeah, interesting to see how they have improved. And what surprises me the most about that is the fact that this is the team, as I talked about Jailings, that was undefeated in the NLC Division 3 run. So to see them struggle a little bit early on in tournament did surprise me. I thought they had just strolled all the way through because I know this is a good team. Regardless, very, very exciting semi-final. And as Leaving say, we might have our first 5-game series.
That would be very exciting. Like a 5-game series here in the Aurora Cup. Surely not. Surely not. Maybe it could happen. And I love talking to Sleeping there, and he mentioned he himself and Faded in the mid lane being really good, and MXC being like the putting the strings down bot lane. Very much lines up with what we have for our MVP predictions today.
Yeah.
I do believe Grave Pass has kind of nipped MXC a little bit there, but I think both of those players were very good in the bot side. But here are your MVPs of the series: Sleeping, Fade, and Grave Pass. A bit of a solo lane gap here in Fourth Wall versus Lazy.
Yeah, and I think despite Sleeping, not except for the quarter kill in the end, having the most standout performance, he was rock solid up in the top lane. As you talked about in the first game, it didn't feel like he did anything wrong. It was just a champion diff, and it was abused well. So they were able to get the win at the end, and some miscommunication around the Drake in the last fight led to them losing it. So yeah, all around, just really, really solid performance here from Fourth Wall. They were the best team today. There's no doubt about it, with 3 confident wins. But other than learning these teams better, I think the Fearless Draft, learning more about that every time I see it, and it's fantastic. I still haven't seen a Game 5 yet. Hopefully that happens in the semi-final or the final, because I would love to watch it. But yeah, I mean, I'm loving this tournament so far. We have upsets, underdogs, and still a big, big favorite remaining to try and win it all.
Yeah, it's a lot of good fun, and don't forget to cast your MVP votes as well yourselves at home at NLC Low on Twitter. Yes, it's still Twitter. You can vote for either Sleeping, Fade, or Grave Past. Personally, I think I'd give it a Fade. Honestly, I think he was kind of nutty in this series, right? He was definitely one to beat. And considering we hyped up Ericsson coming in, and actually Ericsson is very good still. And in that game 1 that Lazy were victorious in, a lot of it was off the back of Ericsson.
Fantastic,
right? So
absolutely fantastic.
The fact that Fade was able to kind of mid-gap him for the rest of the series speaks more to credit as well of how well he played.
Yeah. That definitely does speak volume. Regardless, as you said, first drop, remember to go vote on Twitter. I still refuse to call it X. I cannot believe people calling it that. It's so weird. Regardless, though, that is it for me and Foxtrot here on the cast today. It has been absolutely fantastic being joined by Foxtrot. It's been loads of fun and an exciting series. Hopefully, more to come, as in 5 days' time, Verden take on J-Links as we look to find our final finalist. That is all for today. We will see you all in 5 days' time. Have a good weekend.